that by taking on other clients, her art meant less. Then when she confronted them about it, they were like, we never meant that. We just want you to work on Cinder's models. Do what you gotta do. But then we saw very recent DMs from 2025 as well as 2024 in which they were telling her, do not work on models for these people in particular. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Nano continues the document saying, damage control, making sure none of this reaches the other VTubers and is all kept hush-hush, while also providing proof that they know what they do is ill-intended and should not get out, as it would cause issues for Cinder's career to be painted in this light. Note that the uncalled shot at VTuber 1 is even spoilered, a hidden message in Discord, so it wouldn't accidentally be leaked. This was from the same day in November 2023. A lot was revealed that day. Nano says, I try to be transparent as much as possible. I think it's more fair for both sides this way. And Redacted says, you didn't tell Blank you canceled because of Cinder, did you? And Nano said, no, I told all of them it was health issues. I would never blame anyone besides Blank. Redacted then says, lol, we never want to make you feel like we're making you or forcing you to work on / not work on something, especially if it's something you want to / don't want to do. And our conversation the other day doesn't mean to convince you of only doing Cinder work. Again, sorry that it sounded to you like I was telling you to do only Cinder work. I'll message you later. So ever since 2023, Redacted and Cinder have been obsessed with just this one VTuber, always tracking what she's doing and not wanting her to hire Nanolist no matter what. Here you can see Redacted saying, well, let's see if Blank wants a nano model or not and hope Blank finds someone else. Nano continues in the document saying the constant obsession with VTuber 1 and claiming that she's asking for it by causing this unspoken competition, which is coming from absolutely no other source than Cinder herself. So Cinder was convinced this VTuber was competing with her directly and wanted to steal her thunder. It's censored in this document, but we'll later find out who this is because she also made her own document. Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while. Nano's document ends with around 3 or 4 screenshots showing this absolute obsession with this VTuber and the unhinged thought process that Redacted and Cinder had towards them. This is Redacted saying, I think it's more like wanting her to recognize Cinder even though it literally doesn't matter. I feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because Blank can't get along. But I also understand her point of view. The new VTuber who people say looks, sounds, and acts like you becomes just as successful as you in a year. If she did recognize Cinder as an equal or a friend, then I would be like she's endorsing her copy. Or like I've seen some people say her replacement, they share a lot of the same audience too. Like at the end of the day, it isn't just about how much we make compared to her, we just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder is a big VTuber too. She got there on her own merits, just like you did, get along. And the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up. I just know anything we do, she's watching and will take from or try to outdo. Oh my god, you know the spinning figure we have on stream? Blank's figure was announced on Wednesday, no spinning figure. Cinder debut Saturday, everyone hears about it. Figure announced, spinning figure on screen with exclamation mark figure right next to it. Blank streams yesterday, first stream since Cinder debut, guess what? Spinning figure with exclamation mark figure next to it. Now this might seem confusing, but we were just talking about VTuber 1. But there was another VTuber that both Cinder and Redacted were obsessed with, a Cerberus pup VTuber. Here we have Redacted talking about her mid-conversation, accusing her of copying Cinder every chance she got, saying, then like a month later unfollowed her on Twitter and started taking her ideas, Cinder's ideas, like the flames, and now she's basically rebranded to more of a fire Cerberus, using fire emojis all the time, shaking my head. Never did that before. It's funny because she used to call herself a hellhound, but stopped when Cinder grew past her and now uses Cerberus, or Cerber pup, or whatever her lore says she is, I don't know. Nano says the unfollow is weird, and then Redacted says, yeah, so it's like there was also unprovoked tweets from her like, I didn't copy anyone else for my design is all me, this is who I am. Like, huh? Who are you saying that to? Then he continues and says, oh, lol, on random Cinder clips on YouTube, there was one dedicated Blank fan or someone she knew, I don't know, that would comment on these clips saying like, when are you going to clip Blank? Only on Cinder clips. Nano ends this document by saying, I'd like to highlight the irony of expecting to be entitled to recognition for her own efforts and size when her own active efforts are tied to sabotaging this very same VTuber. Also feeling entitled and insisting to be recognized by someone else is odd. Thanks for taking the time to read through everything. I hope everything makes sense and everyone who has been hurt, manipulated, or sabotaged by her will find closure. So look, this whole idea of, oh my god, this VTuber's copying me or whatever, this isn't the first time we see it in the VTuber space. It happens more often than anyone would like to. But Cinder, as well as Redacted, were taking it to a whole other level. They weren't just concerned by someone copying them, they were obsessed. And they were dragging their artist who has been loyal to them into this mess as well. It was a very, very bad look. Some people were analyzing some of the DMs between Cinder and Nano, and this part right here, where she says, being one of your very first model babies was so amazing, I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with Live 2D cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part why everyone loved the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. Made people think like, wait, what are you saying here? Are you saying your skill is thanks to me because I found someone that can help your Live 2D cutting? And the reason everyone even started to look for you is because they loved my model first? It seemed like Cinder believed Nanolist owed her for the success, that she would be a nobody if it wasn't for Cinder. What a very weird attitude to have. Additionally, here's a screenshot of all the models that Nanolist worked on. Oh my god, I have to censor that. Dude, her boobs are literally out of the outfit. What? Anyway, as you can see, they don't look the same at all. They're all very special and all have their unique traits. This idea that the more models she worked on would devalue her work as an artist was a ridiculous claim to make, and everyone can see that now. But speaking of everyone, what about her close friends that she backstabbed so shamelessly? What was their reaction? Well, Cottontail was one of the people mentioned in that document that both Cinder and her manager were trying to keep away from Nano, even though they were friends, in which Redacted says, "You don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Blank at all again." She tweeted this, saying, "This made my stomach drop to read. It makes me very sad to have things come out like this, sending Nano and Bao so much love." I mean, I can't even imagine thinking that someone is my friend and they're out there in DMs getting their manager to gatekeep an artist from me because they think I'm a threat to them. But of course, Cottontail was far from being the only one affected here. 5 minutes after Nano released her document, Bao quote tweeted and said, "I was very hurt by someone I thought was a friend," with her own Google document. Now look, many friends of Cinder were involved in this, but Bao was more involved than most because this didn't just concern Nano, it also concerned editors as well as animators. So here's what Bao had to say in her document, saying, "Hello, this is Bao. I will only speak to what Nanolist has decided to share with the public and the messages that directly mention me by name. I would like to kindly ask everyone to refrain from turning this into a witch hunt and remember that we are still humans at the end of the day. Before I start, I want to point out why I'm addressing both Cinder and Redacted despite the messages being largely from Redacted. Many times throughout the messages, the words we, we're, our occur numerous times. As someone who was close to and worked with Cinder for years, I have first-hand experience in how Cinder and Red collaborate and the extent to which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects. It is that experience that leads me to believe that all requests and messages sent by Red were both known about and approved of by Cinder. In March 2024, I announced that one of my subathon goals was a live 2D model. This right here is the tweet of her announcement. If she reaches 10,000 subs, she's gonna commission a new sexy mommy live 2D model. That's what she's referring to. She then continues, Nanolist was going to be the live 2D illustrator. After she finished both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad as I had not only teased the screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had grown very attached to the design and showed it to all my friends in a private group chat that Cinder was a part of. I shared how devastated I was and she did not comment or say anything despite others in the group chat comforting and reassuring me. I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Cinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolist. She then shows us the same screenshots that were in Nano's document, in which we now know that Bao, Cotton, as well as other VTubers were directly targeted by both Redacted and Cinder. Bao then continues in her document and says, Nanolist asks Redacted on why he is encouraging her to not finish my model. Redacted then lists my name amongst various VTubers as well as the vendettas Cinder and Redacted harbor against each. She then lists all these reasons that they were targeting Bao. The first one being, Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. The second, she hijacked our YouTube editor. The third, constantly picking up artists that we work with. The fourth, now she's barking up the tree of one of our live 2D animators. And the fifth, has a way of guilt-tripping others to get her way. This is what Redacted lists as reasons why Nanolist should cancel her ongoing live 2D commission with me, all the while continuing to collaborate with me and pretending to be my friend. This is not what friends do. Friends do not sabotage other friends out of business opportunities. Friends do not spread lies to fuel selfish narratives. Friends do not use the private information they get from the privilege of being close friends just to use it to manipulate others. If stepping on your friends and abusing your power and connections is how you get to the top, then I hope you realize no one will be left when you get there. She then links another screenshot we saw in Nano's document of Redacted asking, did you cancel the models? And then says more screenshots of them urging Nanolist to cancel the ongoing live 2D commission with me, even mentioning how excited I was about it when I showed them the design during Cinder and I's concert at WeebCon in 2024. That is so scummy. Again, this is a screenshot that we saw in Nano's document. So then Bao mentions something that happened in this conversation between Nano and Redacted, in which Redacted was urging her to cancel the model with Bao and Nano saying, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift. Redacted then said, I wouldn't offer it for free, maybe half price if she starts shit, lol, and Bao quotes that sentence of Redacted and says, I don't know what I have ever done to either Redacted or Cinder to deserve this level of vitriol towards me. I don't remember having any issue or any problem that couldn't have been solved by talking. So yeah, this is really, really screwed up, obviously. I mean, anyone can tell, right? It's like Bao murdered one of their family members and got away with it. Like, what did she do, man? Anyone who's ever worked with her has said nothing but good things about her. Out of all her friends, she decided to target the person who is probably the nicest out of all of them. Anyway, Bao continues, saying, regarding the messages where Cinder and Redacted openly accuse me of stealing their YouTube editor, Boss Rush music video animator, as well as any artist they have worked with, she attaches an image that shows an email between her and Kaiser, their YouTube editor, in which she says, "Hi Kaiser, nice to meet you. I was just watching your stream highlight from me and Cinder's collab, and I really loved your editing style and humor. I was curious if I could request a video edit from you every now and then if you have any availability. My username is Bao on Discord if you want to chit chat more there. Thanks again." And Kaiser says, "Hi Bao, I'd love to edit a video for you. I just sent a friend request on Discord." Bao continues in the document saying she hijacked our YouTube editor. Their YouTube editor, Kaiser, is a mutual YouTube channel editor for myself and Cinder. My channel manager, June, and I asked Kaiser for one stream highlight per month as we are aware of his extensive position as Cinder's channel manager. I made a point to note this in my inquiry email to him in 2023. She then shows a screenshot of a call that lasted 5 hours and says, "On March 20th, I started a group Discord call that lasted 5 hours to hang out with my editors. In this group call, Kaiser shared with us that he was afraid to ask Cinder for a raise because he initially turned down an exclusivity deal. As a friend to both Cinder and Kaiser, I encouraged him to take the deal and reassured him that it would not change our friendship, as I would never want someone I care about to miss an opportunity, even if it meant I would lose him as an editor. The other editors who were in the call can corroborate this. I'm sharing this context because there are no words to describe the hurt and betrayal I feel now, knowing that on the other side of this conversation, Cinder and Redacted were actively portraying me as a thief and a detriment to their business. I've only ever supported them in their activities and never once thought that I had somehow gotten on their nerves." She then quotes what Redacted said in the DMs with Nano, a sentence that said, "Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor and the songs flopped." Bao then says, "I'm in shock and disbelief that this is the narrative they decided I deserved, saying that I harbored an invisible jealousy because my songs flopped made me feel sick to my stomach. In late 2024, I was dealing with debilitating TMJ pain that resulted in me having to drain fluid from my jaw joint to open my mouth properly. They both knew this. I have always wanted my friends to succeed alongside me, and I don't know how they could say these things while simultaneously weaponizing my most vulnerable moments against me." I mean, at this point, no comment, right? Like, no comment. This is disgusting. For years, they were trying to backstab her as hard as they could. She had no idea. She thought they were friends. So this was her clearing up the whole idea that she stole their editor. She did nothing of the sort. But then there was the topic of her animator. So here she quotes the sentence that Redacted had told Nanolis, which is, "We're 99% sure she told him," Sacramore, her animator, "not to do any more with us," referring to the Boss Rush music videos. And these screenshots were in Nano's initial document. Bao says, "In these messages, Cinder and Redacted are referring to my animator, Sacramore, whom I have been working with since 2023. She proves this by showing DMs between them in 2023, Bao saying, 'Hi, I'm going to bed, but give me your rates and turnaround time for a video like the Bao Experience one. Me and my editors loved it,' and Sac said, 'Yo, all good.'" And she continues, "In 2024, Sac asked me if he could go completely exclusive for me and work for me in-house with no credit in order for him to be able to quietly work on his personal projects and brand without having VTubers ask him for more commission work. I was happy to accept. I want to reiterate that this was Sac's decision and no one else's." Then she says, "Here is proof of Sac mentioning his wishes to be my in-house animator directly to my channel manager June back in December 2024, refuting Redacted's claims that I locked him up due to Boss Rush's success." These DMs between Sac and June, her channel editor, have Sac asking, "Yo, is it fine if going forward I don't be credited in video descriptions?" To which June says, "Okay." Sac then says, "Thank you. I'd rather just be more an in-house type of thing for Bao after this blank thing is done. It's the last commission I ever do for anyone besides Bao, and want to make a name for myself through my own content and not really my work for others next year." So again, Bao showed up with the proof and she's showing us how delusional Redacted and Cinder were. Bao then ends this by asking, "Why aren't you solving this privately?" and then replies, "If you look at the timeline of events from Nano's document, some of those messages date back years. I found out about this less than 48 hours ago, and they did not give me common courtesy of talking to me privately about this over those years. My thoughts, feelings, my most vulnerable, darkest moments that I shared in confidence with people I thought would be by my side years and years from now may have been used as information to ruin my chances to have the same VTuber model as someone I thought was my friend, and I don't know how I can ever be the same after this. I would like to ask the community to refrain from spreading any harmful speculation. Everything shared in this document was done so with the express permission of those who shared it with me. I made this document with the intent to refute the claims made about me in the screenshots. Thank you for taking the time to read this." Yeah, what a roller coaster, right? And I just feel very bad for everyone involved in this, of course, except Cinder and Redacted, because this is a horror story. Imagine opening up to someone, thinking they're your friend, always thinking about what's best for them and not coming in their way. And then it turns out that not just recently, for years, ever since you knew them, they've only had negative things to say about you privately. That is wild, and that of course will traumatize a person. It's crazy. The VTuber Sane compiled all the different collabs and things that both Bao and Cinder worked on to really show how much of a terrible person she was talking like this behind her back. The song used in the video is a song from Cinder, I'm pretty sure, so I'm gonna mute that just in case she wants to copyright me. Here you go, look at this. They collabed so many different times and met up IRL so many times too. Like, look at this tweet from Bao. Love you, Cinder. The fact that this is your first shot at anything musically is incredible, and I can't wait to see where you go from here. That's my girl. Like, this is insane. The people who were mentioned in Bao's document made sure to confirm publicly that what she was saying was true. Her channel manager June quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Hello, I'm Bao's channel manager, and yes, I was there in the call with Kaiser, Bao, and Sak, and Bao encouraged Kaiser to take the raise. It was definitely something she thought would be best for him. Bao supported any opportunity or anything that Kaiser would choose to go." Sak, who is her animator, also quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Feel free to read if you want. Go show love and support to both Nano and Bao though," and linked a Google document that recounted his experiences in this entire situation. So Sak starts this document off with, "This is going to be very unorganized, but I'll try and keep this brief since I don't really think that they, Red specifically, deserve any more of my attention after hearing what they have said about me and also how working with them was." So he specifies again that he wanted to go anonymous and in-house, not because Bao forced him to, but because he wanted to. He wanted to focus on his own channel while not worrying about having to be commissioned by other people. Then he addresses what Redacted told Nanolist about him, where he says her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. Sak says, "When me and Cinder initially discussed working on a music video project at TwitchCon, everything was fine and friendly. However, the part that is stated as practically jumped through hoops is, well, a bit of an overstatement to say the least, since they had asked me a significant amount of times trying to get me to work with them after I told them no multiple times, and I only said yes because they offered double pay." So in this DM, you can see in September, Redacted reaching out to Sak asking, "You wouldn't happen to be available for a music video in a week or two, would you?" And Sak saying, "No, I'm completely full every day this month and earliest I could do is November 9th. Sak really tried to make it work but couldn't find any slots in his schedule. Redacted would continue asking questions. How long does it take you to make a music video? What do you need? And even with Sak saying multiple times, "I really can't, I'd love to, but I just can't," he says things like, "Okay, thanks though, Sak. You're missing out on a good one." Like, bro, he stated he wants to, but just can't. Redacted then keeps messaging Sak, talking to him about project specifics, asking him how long things would take him, and seeing when he's free. And then on the 12th of November 2024, Redacted messages Sak saying, "Are you available? Sorry for getting back to you so late." Sak says, "All good. I'm still 100% down to do it. I would be able to start like the first or second week of December for like mid-December release. Is that okay?" And Redacted says, "We were hoping end of November release," to which Sak says, "Oh yeah, that would be impossible for me." Sak then specifies, "Like I said, I'm still super down to do it and really hope to be able to work with Cinder on the video, but my schedule is always super packed / fully planned weeks and months ahead without much wiggle room, so just let me know what y'all would like to do or feeling." And then Redacted says, "What if we pay you double?" Sak then says, "Blank and I'll cook," to which Redacted says, "You can send the invoice to blank whenever, we'll get it paid ASAP." Sak then continues in the document saying, "Also, I'm not sure what they're on about with Bao not knowing about me working with them, since I asked Bao with Cinder and Red standing right next to me at TwitchCon if it was fine, since I had agreed to do all the Halloween album but would probably miss one of the songs, and she had no problems with it at all." So even though this would sacrifice the music video for one of Bao's songs in her album, she still said, "Yes, please go ahead." I mean, Cinder is her friend, as far as she knew, right? Then Sak goes on to detail his work experience with Cinder and Redacted, saying, "Also, the stream was pushed back for the reason of the video wasn't done yet. Song was going up at 2 p.m. if I remember. However, this part really got under my skin due to the fact that it was just straight up not true, and if something goes wrong in the video production line, no matter who's at fault, the blame will always fall to the editor / animator pretty much every time. I'm still not sure why stream was pushed back. So it felt as if I was getting passive-aggressively blamed publicly on stream in front of thousands for the lateness really upset me, since the video was not late even under a very tight deadline, where I did not even receive all the artwork until the 18th, the first full master until the 19th, and was then asked to also make a teaser version as well as an ad for the end of the video for their merch on the 21st, which I was not informed of at all prior to planning. I also had skipped going home for Thanksgiving after having a family member pass to get this video done and rushed the hell out of it. The entire video was done from scratch in a little under 2 weeks, since there were quite a few both visual and audio assets I did not have at the time that even remotely resembled what the final product will sound like. So I felt like this was an attack on my work ethic, which is something I take quite a lot of pride in. I did not receive the merch assets until the 27th as well either. Even with revisions and all the extra trailers, the video was completed and delivered on time with enough time for YouTube to process the 4K version. There's probably more that I should clarify, since I'm aware this is unbelievably poorly organized, but I'm very tired and don't feel like giving any more energy to these people. If there's anybody who has questions for me, just send me a DM. So this clears up more things that were happening behind the scenes between Sack and Cinder as well as Redacted, shows us that Bao was nothing more than an amazing friend, and also, even though Cinder and Redacted fought so hard to get Sack over, paying him double his rate, they were terrible clients who weren't prepared, didn't know what they wanted, and still managed to make Sack look bad in front of their audience, even though he missed Thanksgiving just to get the video done on time. It's overall a terrible situation. With all these documents releasing, pressure was mounting very hard on Cinder, with people demanding answers. So many looked up to her and loved her content purely because of how warm and gentle and kind of a person she portrayed herself on streams. But now people were realizing this was nothing more than an illusion. Hours later, Cinder finally tweeted something, saying effective immediately. Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry everyone, I will make a larger response when I'm able. So I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised when I tell you that this response left a lot to be desired. But then another VTuber pointed out something very interesting. Vampeaches replied to that tweet and said, I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you first debuted like 4 years ago. You told me he was your boyfriend. Then before we met for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, just so you know, my manager is coming with me on this trip, as if I didn't know who he was. It's even ickier to read this tweet knowing he is your significant other and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the Red side of this duo. So as everyone could have guessed, Redacted is her significant other, he's her boyfriend, and he lives with her. She was fully aware of what he was doing and approved of it, and yet right now she was throwing him under the bus to try and save her career, when everyone knows this is nothing more than a desperate attempt to save your skin without facing any responsibility. It was a very lackluster response to an apocalyptic expose on who she is behind the scenes. And speaking of who she was behind the scenes, someone else came out with a document by the name of Rain on a topic that no one could have ever expected, saying, fuck it. My experience with Tashi/Cinder, content warning, cheating? Dude, this just keeps getting worse. Let's look at this document. So this goes back way before Cinder was even a thing. This is about Tashi, her previous persona. Things were getting so spicy, my tongue isn't working anymore. The document starts off with, hello, thank you for taking the time to read this document. The events described in it happened about 4 to 5 years ago before the first Cinder debut. I understand there will be accusations of me clout chasing by revealing them. However, I wanted to corroborate Nanoliss's assertion that she is not who she appears to be on the surface, and confirm that no matter how much damage control she does, she is just as responsible as Redacted. The first section is titled The Beginning. Cinder and I met while she was still running her Tashi.mp3 YouTube channel, which is why all the following screenshots will show her as Tashi rather than Cinder, and that will come up later. At the time, she was only starting her account, and I already had my own ASMR RP channel with 8K subscribers, and as a bigger channel than her, she couldn't wait to work with someone as talented as me. This message dates back to May 2020, with Tashi saying, you'll get there. It's still hard for me to believe that someone so talented likes my voice enough to want to work together. Rain continues and says, we never ended up actually making any content together, but that didn't stop us from talking pretty much every day at the time, and eventually she found a new way to make me useful. The next section is titled, Oh Dear. Pretty much immediately she was flirting with me despite, as you can see here, having a boyfriend and both of us knowing she had a boyfriend, including regularly talking shit about him to me while telling me how great it would be if I were to replace him. What the hell? He continues, I understand that I'm no angel in this myself, but hey, at least I can be honest about it. Oh my god. Anyway, here are the DMs. It starts off with Rain saying, besides, you said it's hard when your boyfriend is far, far away. I'm not your boyfriend, am I? To which Tashi says, no, but how nice that would be. Your perfect boyfriend material, heart. Okay. Rain then continues, oh ho, so you want to go at it behind his back? How sneaky. And then she says, hi honey, I've been talking to this guy about how badly I want him to fuck me since he wanted to buy a flashlight instead of giving me any attention when I'm needy. What? Rain then says, fucking oof, dude. Literally, why would you even need a flashlight when you have a girlfriend? And then Tashi/Cinder replies with, he sent me a screenshot a couple weeks ago telling me he was getting one and had the nerve to use it in front of me to show me how great it was. Wow, yeah, must be great. Rain then says, yo, what the fuck? That's like me inviting you to a chatterbait room so you can watch me fuck someone else in all the ways I said I want to fuck you. To which he replies with, isn't that great? Rain then says, I'm very slowly not feeling as bad for him about all this, because it did honestly leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth that all this was happening while you you were taken, but then, yeah, that's a bit, Did you tell him that was fucked up and hurtful to you? She then replies with, he asked me if I was okay with it, and after I explained how I felt, he told me it was too late to do anything about it because it shipped, and he kept it. Rain then says, I mean, far be it from me to give you advice, it's your relationship, and the only ones who can decide what is and isn't okay is you two, but that just sounds really sketchy to me. And why did he ask if you're okay with it after he bought it? Well, all I'm going to say on this is, two wrongs don't make a right. As much as I enjoy the sex thing, it's really not right if you still want to be with him. I would either try to reconcile with him and get what you need out of the relationship and step back from me a bit, or maybe consider taking a break. And I know that last part sounds fucked coming from me, but I swear on my life, I'm not being scummy about it. That's really my opinion. She then replies, I've just been really stressed about everything, and talking to you makes me feel so much better. I don't want to lose what we have, but I'm such an awful person, I don't deserve it anyway. Rain then says, I don't believe you're an awful person. I believe that you're stressed, you're emotional, and you're looking for something to make it better, which happened to be me when he wasn't helping. Listen, take a break from what we have just for a little bit and see if you can get something out of him first. You can't really have both of us, plus it wouldn't be very fulfilling for me to just be the other guy in this scenario and not get the full relationship experience myself. You can do it, sweetie. I believe you can, truly. She then says, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'd do without you. To which he says, I'm not saying to stop talking to me completely. I'll still be right here to support you, whichever decision you end up making. And then she says, I love you so much. I don't know how to thank you. Bro, this is so weird. This is so weird, man. Look, I'm convinced this is some weird like roleplay fantasy she has. She knew that Rain felt really weird about this, knowing that she had a boyfriend, so she was making up this story to make him feel less guilty about cheating. That's just my theory, right? But I just find her story so unbelievable that it just can't be true. Rain then continues in the document saying, despite what was evidently nothing serious for her and just a means of keeping herself occupied, she felt the need to keep stringing me along with proclamations of real love, which again, I was silly to have believed in the first place, but still. And it's a screenshot of her saying, regardless, I'm always going to love you. He then continues in the document, for obvious reasons, I won't share any of the explicit sexting, not just because of the NSFW nature of it, but also I just don't think it helps. However, note that all this went on for several months and included more than just text, as both the date and the contents of the following screenshots prove. This was in September of 2020, so months since the last DMs we saw, and it features Rain saying, I mean, it looked like something was going down there either way, and then Tashi replies with, it's called fingering, dear. Oh my god. The document then continues, one reason I felt it important to share these details in particular is because I never found out if Red got told about what happened, especially not in full lucidity. The primary reason I've held on to all this for so long was an itching feeling that Redacted never fully knew and that always felt like it would be unnecessary drama, so I left it alone. But now seems as good a time as any. Redacted, if you're reading this, I'm sorry for all that happened back then, I really am, but given the actions you two have taken together regarding other VTubers, I still think you're perfect for each other regardless. The last section of this document is the end. After Cinder got done using me for fleeting sexual gratification, our conversation slowed down, exacerbated by the Cinder character coming into fruition and finding immediate success. I had stopped making content for a decent length of time by then, and thus, she no longer felt she could ladder climb from me. Here we can see this was a conversation mid-2021, with Tashi saying, hey, what was your exam for? I haven't been on this Discord account super often, so I missed a bit. And Rain said she made a new group chat without me. I kid, but yeah, they were the entrance exams for the uni college. Tashi said, nice, congrats on passing them. I've just been on the VTuber side of things working with commissions and whatnot. And then Rain said, what? And Cinder doesn't want to be my friend? Only Tashi does? To which she replied with, it's just easier not having multiple ongoing conversations. Rain continues in the document saying, until eventually she stopped using that account altogether and committed fully to Cinder, and I never heard from her again, something I was uncannily aware would happen even back then. These are DMs from around the same time in 2021, with Rain saying, I'll message you at this time in 2022 and you won't even remember who I am, to which Tashi said, I'd never forget you. Rain then continues the document and says, and that's pretty much it. This isn't meant to be a witch hunt. We all make mistakes, including me, as I've shown in this same document, but it felt like a good time to get off my chest things that I've been on it for half a decade now and to finally get some closure, even though I know how bad I look alongside her. She's an opportunist whenever she can find a way to be, and she does not care what happens to the people she springboards off from. I can only hope she takes this as an opportunity to change and grow as a person, and I'm just going to throw this one in the end because it's kind of funny for me to see in retrospect. Okay, thanks for reading. And it's a message from Tashi in 2020 saying, don't forget about me when you become a big popular YouTuber. You know what? I didn't read this document until I started recording, and yeah, this caught me by surprise. Wow. You know, I wish Rain had shown this a long time ago so people would have known, okay, this person's kind of weird. And maybe Bao and Nano wouldn't have been backstabbed so goddamn hard. But it does leave a bad taste in my mouth in regards to Rain as well. Releasing this information now does seem opportunistic, because it seems like it's cool to hate on Cinder. In other words, he was backstabbing her the same exact way she was backstabbing others right now. But speaking of backstabbing, we were slowly but surely uncovering the other people that Cinder had backstabbed because documents kept coming out. Spite, another big independent VTuber, posted this on Twitter, quote tweeting Nanolist saying my experience with Cinder and attaching a Google document of her own. This is when we uncover one of the two last missing pieces of the puzzle. There are two more VTubers that were backstabbed by Cinder that were censored in Nano's original document, so which one is Spite? Well, let's read the document. It starts off by saying, I want to start by saying please do not send any hate to anyone involved in this. I only wish to speak about my experiences and give more clarity on those experiences. First and foremost, my love and admiration goes out to Nanolist for having the courage to bring this to light. Artists are the backbone of our community, and taking advantage of her goodwill personality is saddening to see. I want to take the time to address what has been brought to light involving myself and what I've experienced over the years that coincide with these events. In this screenshot, the VTuber that is being talked about is very clearly me. Since the beginning of my VTuber journey, it has been written in my backstory and lore that I'm the daughter of Cerberus, and through an unforeseen summoning mishap, the Greek goddess Hecate. As many may know, Cerberus is a species of hellhound, and I've always incorporated the number 3 in my designs to follow the 3 heads of Cerberus in my early design, and when artists were still learning new model/rigging techniques, I had opted for 2 other wolf heads on my shoulders as pauldrons to symbolically represent my 2 other heads. However, the repeated comments of, if you're a Cerberus, where are your other 2 heads, had pushed me to use the broader term hellhound at the time. Fast forward to months to a year into my journey, and I started to receive harassment and berating comments and chat messages on Twitch and YouTube videos comparing me to Cinder and putting me down for being a hellhound. Making the definitive switch to the Cerberus label brought me a sense of relief, because the last thing I wanted was to be constantly compared or harassed at this point. I didn't want to be associated with her due to all the negativity that was being thrown my way. Then she links one of the screenshots that were included in Nano's document, in which redacted claims that Spite unfollowed Cinder on Twitter, and this is what she has to say about it. As for the claims of unfollowing her and taking her ideas, I debuted my 2.0 Live 2D model May 14th, 2022, and on that same day, she decided to post her debut announcement for her 1.0 Live 2D model. Leading up to this time, I didn't know who Cinder was at all. I had no idea she had fire in her ears or she was another hellhound. The creator space is broad, and I still stumble across creators larger than myself that I had not heard of before. I never once stole her ideas. All I ever want is to try to be unique in my own way, so these claims that I was following her and then unfollowing and stealing her ideas are absolutely baseless and uncalled for. This is a screenshot that shows that Spite was doing her 2.0 debut on May 3rd, 2022, and 11 days later, Cinder was barely revealing her first model. She had not even done her debut yet. Spite continues in the document, saying her posting her debut announcement trailer the same day as my 2.0 debut seemed off, but I shrugged it off as a coincidence because things happen. However, this wasn't the last time something like this had happened. There have been multiple times where I have done something, and either the same day or shortly after I was made aware or had discovered later that something similar had been posted, making me feel like I was being watched constantly. I tried my best to believe that it was coincidental and not ill intent on their part. There were many times where I designed a new outfit that I was really excited for, but afterwards, Cinder would release outfits or models with similarities to it. I didn't think much of it at first because it is normal to have some similarities or shared inspirations with other creators. The VTuber community is a huge space and similarities are normal. I'm not speaking to whether my designs were taken as direct references for hers. I'm addressing the need for the unprovoked tweets mentioned in the screenshots above and showing that I made the statements to make it clear that I was not stealing ideas. How can I copy something that was released/teased/revealed after my own? On July 20th, 2022, Maui Live, my model Mama, and I worked on a comfy goth girl outfit. I had rips in my shirt, a G-string, shorts, and spiked wrist cuffs. 2 weeks after, Cinder debuted a similar outfit. I included the earliest image that I could find of Cinder with this outfit. I received many negative comments about my design from people assuming that I copied her when I debuted it 2 weeks before hers. I got called off-brand Cinder and just a bunch of horrible things. So these are DMs with her artist saying, sounds great, I'm so happy with it, on July 20th, 2022, showing that she was working on this outfit way before the tweet that Cinder made on September 14th, 2022, asking, what do you think of my new outfit that looks very similar? Spite then continues in her document saying, I discovered this merchandise that she used for Uwu Market and had to do a double take because of the gray blue skin tone used in the art. Several people thought it was me, and the similarities for this speak for themselves, I feel. So this is the design itself, and yeah, I mean, they do look pretty damn similar, not gonna lie. She continues, on April 29th, 2024, I designed a Greek goddess outfit on stream. I am a Cerberus VTuber, so it fits my lore completely. I mentioned that I may or may not get a future Greek goddess outfit because it fits my branding. About 4 months ago, Cinder debuted a Heaven Okami-inspired outfit. It was white and gold, resembling a Greek goddess. In the background for debut, she also included Greek columns. At this point, I felt like nothing I could come up with would be even slightly original to me. I'm aware that nothing is completely original, but I still wanted my own identity. So here's the outfit that she drew on her stream, and then here is the debut stream with the new outfit that Cinder came up with. She then continues, on April 20th, 2024, I debuted a new model for my model mama, Ari VT. I got a hoodie with a cute design on top, and I had side bangs covering my eyes. On April 4th, 2025, so a year later, Cinder debuted a sports hoodie with side bangs covering her eyes similar to mine. Is this a coincidence, or is it truly her trying to copy everything she's doing? I don't know, I'll let you decide. She then continues, there are some instances that I do not have screenshots of. For example, I remember posting about my first ASMR stream. The day that I was supposed to do said stream, Cinder plugged her ASMR channel. I thought it was a bit suspect, but brushed it off. I don't have any screenshots of the comments and bullying that I received from her community. There were too many that it became too much to keep track of and just started ignoring them because I never wanted to save images of their words that hurt me. I didn't even want to read the harassing comments in the first place. I just wanted to be left alone and be happy in my own space. I received a DM on January 25th, 2023. I will not disclose who the sender was without their consent. The sender expressed to me that they were getting bullied by Cinder and certain members of Cinder's community because she too had fire in her ears. I never responded to the DM because I wanted to stay away from drama as much as possible. Here's what the DM said. Hey, you popped in my feed and can I just say I love your design? I had a rather odd question, I suppose. Have you had any messages from the VTuber Cinder regarding your design? This may seem out of nowhere, but I'm only asking because I had made an original character like a while back and I was accused by her and others of stealing her design because my dog girl had flames in the ears and her fans claimed that was exclusive to her design. It was this whole big ordeal on Twitter, so I wondered if anything similar had happened to you yet? I would like to clarify, I, myself, am not saying your design looks like hers. I was scrolling, sorry, totally awesome design. When I saw the flames near/in the ears, I had flashbacks and thought to myself, oh no. So I guess this is just my curiosity getting the best of me. Spite continues in her document saying, I'm just very saddened and disappointed in this situation. I had my suspicions about this, but I've never wanted to be a part of drama, so I kept quiet. I've also seen what happens when a creator stands up for themselves and receives major backlash even if they're in the right, so I've never vocalized my concerns. I've always designed my own models. I've gotten inspiration from Cerberus with the chains and spikes, Disney's Hades, and because I call myself Goth Girlfriend, I was inspired by Sam and Ember from Danny Phantom plus many other of our goth crushes that we've had growing up. I just focused on myself and my friends. Meanwhile, I had eyes on me the whole time. Knowing that I was being watched and talked poorly about really hurts, especially when they never attempted to interact with me. I did my best to go through and find what I could and get appropriate screenshots. It's crazy because I didn't know who Cinder was until she debuted her Life 2D. I just wanted to exist peacefully as a VTuber and spend my time drama-free. I woke up this morning in shock. It's terrifying and hurtful to know that someone could attempt to blacklist me when I've never even spoken to them. I hope going forward that no one else has to experience anything like this. Thank you guys for being supportive towards me. I love this community so much. Please go and give love and support to all those who have unfortunately been involved in the situation. Please support Nanolus, who was very brave enough to speak up, and the VTubers who were affected. Please support my first model mama, the wonderful Maui Live, and also my most recent model mama, the wholesome Ari VT. Thank you for taking the time to read this. So as I said in the beginning of this document, this was one of the last two remaining pieces of the puzzle. Who was this Cerberus that they were so obsessed with? A VTuber they never even bothered interacting with, who had this design even before Cinder, and yet they were completely and utterly obsessed with her in such a weird and unhealthy way. Honestly, Spite should get a restraining order. Let's be real here. But here's the thing. What about the last missing piece of the puzzle? The one who was called VTuber 1 in Nano's document. Well, this is one of the most screwed up cases of this entire incident, and we're about to find out why. So, you no doubt remember the screenshot in which Redacted was trying to blacklist Bao, Cotton, and a third VTuber from ever being able to commission Nano again. Well, we now know that this third VTuber is none other than Silverveil, yet another very big independent VTuber. Many hours after the initial statement from Nano, she quote tweeted Nano's tweet and said, "My statement on Cinder and Redacted, linking yet another Google Doc." It starts off with a section titled Introduction. I shouldn't have to say this, but me putting out this statement is not a call for or an excuse for anyone to turn the situation into a witch hunt. My intention for making a statement is strictly to give myself closure from the events of the past years and clarify how I have been personally affected. I debated if I wanted to even say anything after being asked if I wanted my name in the original document censored, as the situation is much bigger than just my personal experience. However, after finding out how wide and extensive the transgressions were, I feel the need to give clarity to my situation and how I was personally affected. I want to note, as others have, that though a majority of the messages are from Redacted, who is Cinder's manager, I find it impossible that he acted solely on his own intentions without Cinder's knowledge or consent, given the extent to which he has represented her publicly and professionally. The next section is titled Nano and VTuber 1, in which we see many messages that were already included in Nano's document, where Redacted was trying to convince Nano to go exclusive and not work with specific VTubers. As you can see, this is the message where he says you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Silver at all again, models or art. And then Nanolist says, is there any way to add a little bit more since Silver still asks for art every now and then? To which Redacted says, we could do it like when Silver asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece, like so you still get a job from it. So they wanted to blacklist Silver so hard that if Silver were to ask for any commissions, Redacted and Cinder were willing to pay money to Nano so that she doesn't take the job. We also get more clarity, right? The model that Redacted was talking about was Silver's model. The DMs between Nano and Cinder also reveal to us much more now that Silver's name has been uncensored. Here we can see Nano saying, just wanted to let you know I still love working with you in Red, but I'll understand if things don't work out because of Silver. I just love my clients, that's all. That was in February 2025, barely 2 months ago. So this person that Cinder was saying I just get compared to her a lot even still today was Silver, and Silver had no idea this was happening behind her back. Silver then continues in her document saying, I am VTuber1 in the screenshots provided by Nano in her document. I've been a friend and client of Nano for years, and seeing how she was manipulated and abused by Cinder and Red makes me livid. She's an absolute sweetheart and just wants her clients to be happy. It breaks my heart to see how she was treated like a tool and a resource to be used for growth rather than a talented living person and gaslit into somehow believing that how she was being treated was okay. I am so proud of Nano for having the courage to come forward to the affected people with all of this and to let everyone know how they were being unknowingly sabotaged. I've spoken to her privately and want to be clear that I have no ill will or hard feelings towards Nano for her involvement in this. I urge people reading this to try and understand the emotional manipulation on display and empathize with her situation. There is a lot I could say about how disgusting I find their behavior towards other creators in general, but I want to focus on my personal experiences. The next section gets real, and it's titled Cinder and I, and this is where she goes into the very weird relationship she had with Cinder and really revealed the depth of the backstabbing. She starts off by saying, discovering that all of this was going on behind the scenes has been gut-wrenching. I didn't know Cinder, we weren't friends, and we have barely talked. Even writing this, I do not understand what I could have possibly done to warrant the level of malice and cruelty shown. In our private interactions, I was as cordial as possible, but I just wasn't interested in associating with her professionally or being her friend. From the few uncomfortable interactions I did have with her, I had gotten the vibe that her primary goal was to climb the social and content ladder and grow her brand. I am fully aware how common that attitude is and that that's just how you grow in this sphere, but I personally don't have the emotional fortitude or bandwidth to have friendships for the express purpose of growth. For the record, I think it's fine to have that view and approach to content creation, but I also reserve the right to simply not vibe with someone. I would much rather not associate with someone at all than pretend to be their friend for the purposes of growing my brand. The only time I had actually talked to her directly was during my meet and greet at TwitchCon 2023. I had just finished my meet and greet, and as I was wrapping up, she walked directly to the screen to meet me and had someone else take a picture of us together. I was not informed of this picture or asked permission for it, and only knew about it once I saw it on Twitter later on. And as you can see, this is a tweet from Cinder back in October 20th, 2023, with her saying, "Stop by to say hi after my meet, Wolf Girls." Really making it seem like her and Silver were friends and knew each other, when that wasn't the case at all. Silver then continues, saying, after the meet and greet, she contacted my manager at Mythic to ask me to collab with her. I told them I would rather not collab, but accepted her friend request on Discord after turning her down. In private DMs, she reached out and asked me to do merch or another various form of collab to be monetized, to which I again declined. I will always prioritize my mental health and peace over any potential profit that would make me feel used transactionally and put me out of my comfort zone. So these are the DMs with her Mythic manager saying, also, Cinder really loved meeting dating you and wanted to collab, so I told her I'd let you know, and I could throw you guys in a group chat if you were interested. To which Silverveil said, hello, I appreciate the sentiment, but I prefer to not do collabs. Her manager said, no worries, hope you're having a good weekend. To which she said, aw, thanks, I'm trying to, just busy on lots of IRL stuff coming up, lol. Sorry for not being interested in collabs, I just like to do my own thing, but I'm always open to messages, lol. I hope you had fun at the con and everything went okay. So these are the brief DMs she had with Cinder. Silver starts off the conversation after accepting her friend request saying, hi. Cinder then replies with, hi Silver, sorry for getting back to you late. I've been super sick from TwitchCon. I guess a lot of us got sick after the last couple parties. I hope you had a good time at your meet and greet. It was nice to see you there. But yeah, no worries if you don't prefer to stream together. My manager suggested something more like sponsorships, merch, music, or some kind of other project together that maybe Mythic could help with if needed. I'd love to chat more either way. To which Silver replied with, no worries, it's been super hectic and busy for everyone, lol. I hope you're feeling better. I'm really flattered by the persistence, but I'm just not interested in transactional relationships with anyone. I hope you can understand. So then we go back to Redacted's DMs about Silver and we realize just how unhinged both he and Cinder were, accusing Silver of copying Cinder with that spinning figure and saying things like, oh, we just want Silver to recognize Cinder because she's a big VTuber, and typing in all caps and the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up. Adding, I feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because Silver can't get along. Bro, she literally said in the DMs she's just not interested in transactional relationships, and she was as nice as possible. I've already said this multiple times in this video, but man, this is so weird. Silver then continues in her document saying, I had a new Live 2D models in the works for my birthday with Nano, which was eventually cancelled. I was devastated as Nano was the one who originally asked if she could do this model because she was excited to make it with all the new things she had learned, and my birthday was special. At the time, the reason given was health and stress reasons, which made sense given how much was on Nano's plate, and despite my disappointment, expressed my support for her prioritizing her health. I am now aware that the actual reason for her declining to work with me on my birthday model was external pressure from Redacted and Cinder. Words cannot describe how heartbroken I was and am. She then attaches a screenshot with her and Nano in DMs, with Nano saying, Silver, I have to cancel the model commission. I'm sorry, my manager told me I have to cancel the most commissions possible for health reasons. I've been working too hard and it's getting into me. I really apologize for this inconvenience. Silver replies with, I was looking forward to it so much. I love your art so much and I've been so excited for a new model from you. I understand though. You have to prioritize your health and taking care of yourself. I hope your health improves and you feel better. Make sure to get lots of rest and relaxation. Do you know if you would be able to do it next year at all? Don't feel pressured or anything, just asking. Nano replies with, I'm sorry, it hurts me a lot too. I just wish I could work on everything I could, but I believe I can still go for your model sometime next year. Yeah. Silver then says, that's okay. I know you have a ton on your plate and can't imagine how stressful it must be. Do you think you can still do Gamersub's tub art? And Nano says, oh yeah, illustrations are okay. And of course, they were only okay in the eyes of Redacted and Cinder, who were manipulating the hell out of her. And here Silver attaches two images that we already saw in Nano's document, and here we can see Redacted was saying, you didn't tell Silver you canceled because of Cinder, did you? What's even crazier here is that this message was completely uncensored too, in which Redacted said, well, let's see if Geary wants a Nano model or not and hope Silver finds someone else. So this is yet another content creator that was added to this mess that we weren't even aware of. Silver continues, I didn't think much of it at the time, but Cinder messaged me on Discord right before my model was cancelled. She celebrated that we shared art despite the fact that at the same time she and Redacted were actively working to take the potential for more away. Here you can see a private message from Cinder to Silver saying, hey Silver, I just got your Gamersub stuff in the mail and it looks amazing. It's so cute that we both have Nano's art on our merch since she's both our model mama. This is unhinged psychopathic behavior, bro. Does this person even feel shame? At this point, I don't think so. Silver then ends this document with a section moving forward. Cinder and Redacted have spent years sabotaging me for no understandable reason. I have never done anything to warrant this other than just existing as Silverveil. They actively sought to get my models and art cancelled, and based on the messages I have seen and shared above, seem to have not had any second thoughts about doing so. It's hard to express how crushing a feeling it is to be talked about so cruelly and maliciously without my knowing, and to know opportunities and friendships were taken away for what I can only assume is spite and insecurity. There is no end to the amount of anxiety I feel knowing that if these rumors were expressed to Nano, I have to assume they were expressed to others as well. I hope this document and the evidence presented will convince you that I'm not the person that Cinder and Redacted tried to convince people that I am. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope that any and all of the people who have been affected by this can get the closure and peace that they deserve. Yeah, for the first time in this video, I'm speechless. I'm just glad that Cinder focused on VTubing and not politics, otherwise she would have become the next dictator or something. Make no mistake, this happened because Silverveil had boundaries. This happened because Cinder would not take no for an answer. This happened because she's an unhinged psychopath. With all these different documents and everyone understanding the real nature of who Cinder was, her career was effectively burning to cinders. Sorry about that. People were very patiently waiting for a more complete statement. So after losing over 10,000 followers and waiting more than 24 hours, she finally just published it 6 minutes ago. My apology. Let's see if this can actually save her career. Cinder starts off by saying, "There's nothing I can say to make this better, but I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and mistakes. I'd like to explain my point of view and apologize to each party affected. Redacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do, and being a major part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my endeavors. It's no secret that many VTubers choose to keep their public and personal lives separate, and I'm no different. As of yesterday, he is no longer working with me, and I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Where our personal situation goes from here will be figured out between us privately. I never intended to mention us publicly, but given that the claims are out there, I want everyone to know I'm taking this seriously. After years of working on everything together, his hyper-business-oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing, and what should be important to me as I navigate this career path. I have a terrible work-life balance as it is, and being around projects and streams all day every day made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal or healthy, and it's not an outlook I want to have. This doesn't absolve me of the things I've willingly done wrong and went along with, or the way I've treated people who were fully undeserving." Guys, right off the bat, it's not looking good, okay? This is not going to change much if the rest of the apology is looking like this. But anyway, she continues, "In regards to Nanoless, for the majority of the time working with her, Red was the one almost solely doing the communication about new plans and negotiations through his private DMs. Nano had a project server we were all a part of where the actual art and models were worked on, but the conversations were focused around the work itself. I was not fully aware of the extent of Red's manipulation over Nano's commission decisions, and I should have been more diligent in my oversight. Every time I had been told that Nano had agreed to work on a new commission with me, it had been willingly and with excitement. From my point of view, it was that she genuinely wanted to be working on these things. I wanted to work with Nano as much as I possibly could, making her art the face of my brand. We had come to the conclusion that it'd be in my best interest to talk with Nano about making more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out other work. This was wrong for us to push onto her, and it was wrong to the other creators who wanted the chance of working with her. There was only one specific creator we were responsible for naming and pressuring Nano into reconsidering projects with, not an entire list. Of her own volition, Nano canceled a large portion of her model commissions last September. However, the claim that I was just using her is wrong. Wait, no, this is completely undermining what actually happened. Redacted pressured Nano to not work with Bao, Cotton, Silver, and there was even mention of Geary in there. And let's not forget that more recently, Shy Lily was included in there too. So for Cinder to say Nano canceled these of her own volition is wild, seeing that they manipulated her into doing so. Anyway, she continues, "I've always treated Nano with respect, and as my friend, I did give her a lot of work, and we did everything we could to accommodate her schedule if she needed more time or a break, and even helped her with her own project payments multiple times. I've invited her on my stream, I've sent her my merch and things she's made for me, and I was always open to talking to her about things outside of our projects in the instances we would message each other. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiations of their eventual agreement, and I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. I was only aware of it being about one person who I was unfairly pursuing. When Nano had messaged me about this agreement almost a month later, I was under the impression this was only about Silverveil. I was upset, and my initial messages to her were very guilt-trippy, but I wasn't going to force Nano to do anything she wasn't okay with, and tried reassuring her that I was okay with her decision. Nano had also never come to me as seriously and professionally as her document was looking to address the issues she had with either of us or to terminate our partnership. I had no idea there was even a conversation about Shy Lily recently between Red and Nano until reading her document. It's true I had confided in Red that lately I hadn't been hearing from Lily like I had in the past and was worried something was wrong, but that's as far as it went, and he took it upon himself to try digging for more info. And I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a model for another one of my friends, Geary. I do not condone anything about what Red said about Bao in these DMs either, and him using we and our in this context is abhorrently incorrect, and I believe was done to gain greater credibility behind what he was saying. Yes, Red and I were initially upset when Bao hired my editor, and I took it personally when I shouldn't have. I felt as if maybe my content wasn't good enough or like I wasn't paying enough for his work, but I accepted it and was happy for him for getting that bag and supporting one of my friends at the same time. I don't know, at this point, these things are very hard to believe. If she confided in Red how pissed she was, she's admitting that yes, she was pissed and she confided in Red. Red then used this information to add them to the blacklist. But regardless, those feelings are not things you're meant to feel towards friends. Anyway, she continues and she says, and yes, I was also upset when Sack, the Boss Rush music video editor, had told us that he won't be working on any future project with us and would instead be working exclusively for Bao. But Red got it in his head that it was Bao's fault that it happened and seemingly held a grudge against her for it. He was very passionate about Boss Rush and the potential future projects around it, but he told me about a music video editor as talented as Sack. The future projects wouldn't reach the same heights, so he created this headcanon that's laid out in those DMs. I wasn't convinced this was the case, but it's my fault for never speaking with Bao about these things directly to clear things up and letting it spiral to the point it got to. Every comment here about her own music, guilt-tripping, and claims about our shared feelings towards her are disgusting, and I honestly don't know why you thought this way about my close friend beyond the resentment over those two things or why it was worth sabotaging her over. Like again, if you had the time to confide how pissed you were about this to Red, you could have messaged Bao to clear things up. Assuming you had no idea what Red did, it's still kind of a problem that you didn't want to clear this up in one DM. She goes on to say, the "it's just business" screenshot of my DMs with Nano's document was from November of 2023, and I'll go into my thought process of everything I said here. What Red was trying to explain to Nano is that if everyone has a model by her, then the innate value of her models overall are diminished by there being an oversaturation of that type of model out there. If everyone in the world had a VTuber model done by her, then the value of having her model wouldn't be the same as if there were only a handful of them, which she viewed as a negative for me. I understand where he was coming from with this, but in the VTuber space, this isn't something we should have pursued, so I was never upset seeing new model siblings. In many cases, I was there cheering them on at their debuts, and looking to collab with them as sisters when I could. Oh, you mean how you met up with Silver at TwitchCon, cheered that you guys are both wolf sisters, and then stabbed her in the back? Yeah, that makes sense. She continues and says, me saying it's just business was referring to my acceptance of Nano's business decisions whether she chose to work with me or not. This was not in reference to anyone's model being cancelled, further explaining to her that it's okay if she chooses not to work with me. I can understand where the next part can sound manipulative, but my intention was to reminisce about the journey we had together up to this point, since at this time I wasn't sure if this is where Nano and I would stop working together as frequently as we had been, and I'd have to look for a new model artist. I then encouraged her to work on projects she's excited about while I talk with Red to find a project that would work with her schedule. That's definitely looking at things with the perspective of best case scenario. Like, I want to believe that's the case, but with how Red was talking, it just makes it very hard to believe. She continues, when talking about Silvervale, I need to start at the beginning. Before I was Cinder, I was a pink cherry blossom girl named Tashi that did ASMR content. When the VTuber boom happened in 2020, I knew I wanted to join in. Red and I contacted an artist in October and they were set to start my VTuber design by December. The plan was to take my cherry blossom persona Tashi and make her a pink and white wolf girl VTuber. In November of that same year, Silvervale revealed her Sakura wolf redesign. I had heard of Silvervale earlier that year, but I didn't watch her streams at all. We knew we had to pivot before we were stuck with a design that would just be a copy of one of the most popular VTubers at the time. Like I've explained many times on my stream, I knew I wanted to be a wolf girl, so I mixed my love of Okami and metal music into the design and came out with a hellhound. My name was originally going to be Ember, but Red came up with the name Cinder since it was a mix of Sin and Cinder, both hell and fire themed. It was only a coincidence that it ended up being similar to Silver. I was genuinely interested in pursuing a friendship with her and drew fan art myself of us together. See, that would be considered wholesome, but then teeters on the borderline of being a stalker when we know how hard she tried to be friends with her and then ended up backstabbing her. She continues, on the other hand, Red was in my ear the whole time saying how great working together would be since again he's been the business-oriented side of my brand. Since I started streaming, I have been ruthlessly compared to Silvervale, being called the discount version of her. I was accused of copying her design, copying her personality, and even copying her laugh of all things. And there was a large number of people who were diehard believers in the fact that I stole all of these attributes maliciously for my own gain, citing the art I posted of us together, calling her an inspiration, when in reality this was referring to the decision to become a hellhound. The only time Silvervale was mentioned in the original designing of my character was when we explained why we were pivoting to something else, and there were no references of her character involved. I grew more and more resentful of Silver over time between the constant belittling of myself, a controversy around my first waifu cup, and other incidents, even though she herself never interacted with me directly. And it was also that fact that made me insecure, like I wanted to know if she believed all these things or not. It really felt as if she didn't like that I even existed in the same space. So at the point I was working with Nano consistently, we brought up not making any more models for her. If a VTuber model is how everyone recognizes you, then it'd be harder to compare us directly if we no longer look alike or have that shared similarity. It was a wrong and selfish decision, but it made me feel better, and that's why it was a constant topic with Nano. Red pushed for this harder than I ever did because he knew how it affected me for years, but no matter what the outcome was, I wasn't going to walk away from working with Nano. Silver was completely undeserving of this treatment, and it was my own insecurities that led me to making this choice. I became unapologetically evil towards her due to no direct action of her own. There's no excuse for any of this. It's interesting, right? Because that's exactly how she made Spite feel. And even though that was the case, she never went out publicly to say, hey guys, stop harassing her. This idea of a VTuber copying another has been a problem in the VTubing sphere for a long time, and that's the community's fault. But I personally don't like how often Cinder is throwing Red under the bus. Even here, saying Red pushed for this harder than I ever did. Yeah, so what? You were aware of this and you were pushing it in DMs with Nano too, so it doesn't matter whether he did or not. Like, I wonder, we're not even halfway through.
Okay, massive update to the whole H3H3 versus Hassan group situation. So first off, Hassan's moderator Frogan has just been exposed again for making fun of someone else's appearance after playing victim that people call her horizontally gifted. Hassan is finally debated H3H3 and he got absolutely destroyed. There's like 50 clips of him getting caught lying. It's just embarrassing. Basically got exposed as a complete fraud, hypocrite, and absolute extremist. Even his own followers are in shock that their idol is a complete moron. Then we look at a bunch of reactions to the debate from Asmongold, XUC, Destiny, and the general public. So let's check this out one by one, starting with Frogan. H3 subreddit found an older clip of Frogan trashing another streamer's appearance, Stardust. It's ironic because Hassan and company always emphasize how she's the biggest victim due to people attacking her appearance.
I was a hating ass with ugly eyebrows and no lips coming after you. That's what you have to remember. You look at your haters, and it's an ugly ass with no fucking eyebrows or no lips coming after you. And you're like, okay, like, I'm sorry you're projecting. I'm sorry you're projecting. Aww.
Ooh, I mean, she's definitely right about the projection part, but I don't really see how she gets to play victim here. Like, oh, people are making fun of me. Meanwhile, you sit here and make fun of someone else's appearance. It's just a bit hypocritical, in my opinion. Anyways, we also got a quick update on Tectone, the streamer who got banned on Twitch for calling Frogan calorically enhanced. Tectone says he heard from a trustworthy source that he's about to be permanently banned from Twitch.
I've been told by an insider that I will be permanently banned from Twitch within the month. And if we do, I'll be streaming on YouTube every day. Not worried about it, man. Not worried about it. So I've officially started counting down. I've been told 31 days and I'll be permanently banned. We will see.
Perma-banning Tectone when people like Hassan, Denims, and Frogan are on your website, literal extremist, terrorist supporters, spouting vile stuff every day, it's just insane levels of hypocrisy. But anyways, let's move on to the main event, H3H3 versus Hassan debate, and I wanted to start off with this clip of Hassan accidentally admitting that he supports terrorists. Hassan tries calling out Ethan for being sponsored by Shopify, only to realize he's also sponsored by Shopify.
So I want to say, first of all, thank you to Shopify for sponsoring us. I also want to thank
Shopify sponsoring terrorism by way of, well, I guess they sponsor my podcast too, to be fair. So that's not surprising.
Hassan, your stream is live. I don't think you were supposed to admit that you actually support terrorists, but I mean, if your audience was cool with it, I guess sure. Did Hassan just admit to promoting terrorism? Yes, actually. Anyways, let's get to the debate, starting with H3H3 confronting Hassan about iDubbbz's content cop and how he left out the most important context about people calling CPS on Ethan's kids.
You're misrepresenting what I asked you. I didn't ask you, do you think it's okay that people called CPS? I asked that the video that you participated in, which was a total fucking hit job that used 90% of its clip from an episode of the podcast called CPS Got Called on Me and didn't even include the title of the podcast. Now, do you think that's fair?
I think you should take this up with iDubbbz instead of me.
Okay, sure. Ask me a question.
Yeah, I didn't make any of the editorial decisions in
I'm sure-
iDubbbz's content cop.
Okay, so Hassan basically says that, oh, it's iDubbbz's fault, not mine. Even though we all know you guys were sitting in a room together, jerking each other off, making this content cop together. Hassan, you were literally gargling on his balls, all right? Saying, Ian, please include this in the content cop. Now, if you notice, this is a common Hassan tactic. Hey guys, it's actually all my friends who I completely support and endorse who did all this horrible stuff, not me, guys. Then Ethan asked him about the swastika in the content cop picture, and Hassan basically says, well, iDubbbz's fault again. Hassan tries to get Ethan on drawing a swastika 9 years ago in a PewDiePie video. Ethan retorts back, are you gonna tell black people to not use the N-word?
You have that much of an issue with swastikas considering you drew one on PewDiePie.
I'm a Jewish man, you fucking moron.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Is
the
anyone in
Nazis
that
only
room
killed
Jewish?
Jews.
Was anyone in that room? Did I draw
Do the Nazis
swastika
only kill
one
Jews,
time
Ethan?
on?
Do you think that Jews have an exclusivity agreement with like being offended or not offended by Nazi imagery?
And by the way, as a
Thank you for
Jewish man, are you
clarifying.
going
My
to tell black
bad.
people not to use the N-word?
Do you think this is an apt comparison?
Yes.
Yeah, Hassan the type of guy to just laugh when you make any good point. And he does this like repeatedly throughout the video. Whenever he knows he's just completely lost a point, he just lets out a laugh or a sigh or something like that. Or he just takes like this really long pause. And honestly, this is a very fair comparison. Hassan himself called the sword a swastika sword. So it's not like he didn't know. He specifically put it there to dog whistle and to piss off Ethan. Now Ethan talks about the racist tier list that Frogan and friends made on Twitch, ranking people from Arab to Jew.
Ask me after this. You defended Frogan's use of the Sabra tier list. What was your opinion on that?
I think that the Sabra hummus tier list is absolutely insane to consider anti-Semitic.
Let me ask you this, Hassan. Here's Frogan's thumbnail for the Sabra hummus tier list. In the F tier is me and Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is not in the tier list. He has never explored or used. Why do you think Ben Shapiro is on the F tier?
Ethan?
Whoa, answer the question.
Again.
What, you're dodging?
I'm not iDubbbz.
And obviously Ben Shapiro is at the bottom is because he's Jewish, and this is a straight up race tier list. And I'm just saying, if you swap the races, it is completely insane. Like, imagine it was white people at the top and black people at the bottom. Like, dude, this would be the most racist thing ever. But apparently in Hassan's line of extreme politics, it's okay to be straight up racist, right? Now Ethan proceeds to continue dunking on Hassan, catching him in multiple lies.
He worked with the ADL to make Zionists a protected class on Twitch. Now that is an outright lie.
I don't think it's an outright lie.
I worked with the
you took
ADL.
credit over it, didn't you?
Sorry. I worked with the ADL. What does that mean?
Yeah, as in like worked alongside. I don't think you're in the ADL.
Oh, that's what you meant when you said I worked with the ADL. I worked beside them, just incidentally together. You didn't mean that I worked with them privately to get people banned. Of course not. Pliego, you choose your words very carefully, Hassan.
Not always. I'm famously.
Okay, we're walking that back. Sometimes I speak out the side of my mouth when I say you work with the ADL.
So.
Here you are again repeating the lie with Steiny on video.
Partnering with like the ADL and.
Partnering with the ADL. You want to unpack that one there, buddy? I have never spoken to the ADL, so what does that mean?
I'm not saying you directed the ADL
Do you know
to take
how
action.
silly you
Well, actually,
look?
you know what? I am kind of saying that. I am implying that you directed the ADL to take action.
Well, that's a defamatory claim that has zero proof.
Yeah, so Hassan is basically like, yeah, I lied. What are you gonna do about it? I'm just gonna continue lying. Like, what a disgusting person. You just straight up made up a fact and continue lying about it. He never worked with the ADL. That's just crazy that you can say that and get away with it with no consequences. Now Ethan confronts Hassan on his Destiny obsession.
So do you want to tell me what is your evidence that I work with or talk to or have any association with at all with Destiny?
What? Destiny? What?
What? The guy that I talk about fucking obsessively 100 times a day? That is like basically like the Antichrist, the Lord Voldemort in my community? Yeah, you accuse me of working with him, knowing him, talking to him. What is your evidence for that?
Oh, Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're very
Not
welcome.
only is there video footage of you corresponding with someone in your Discord that literally aligns perfectly with Destiny's own Discord, offering clips for you to pull.
That sounds like a stretch.
You've also used used clips that are unlisted called hamasabi
Yeah.
when making arguments about my virulent anti-Semitism
Who gives
from
I pulled a
unlisted
clip.
link that came from a Destiny fan account.
So that's your
But
proof that I
also-
work
but
with
that- none
Destiny.
Right, so once again, Hassan just makes up a lie because he feels like it. Basically, he wants to taint Ethan's reputation here by associating him with Destiny, because obviously Hassan's community really hates Destiny, so they won't listen to a word he says if they think that they're connected in any way. So Hassan just makes up this lie and gets away with it, refuses to correct the record even when confronted. I mean, this is so ridiculous. It's like you can say and do anything as long as you have a bunch of mentally ill followers. Then Ethan calls out Hassan's gaslighting.
Your
one.
criticisms are in your own mind. Like you have hallucinated an
By the way,
alternative reality.
gaslighting, anti-Semitic trope. This is what dog whistles are. You whistle to other people, and you have it's subtle enough that you
Ethan,
have
people
plausible
being mean to you is
deniability,
not
so that when you get
anti-Semitism.
accused of being anti-Semitic, you can call the accuser crazy, which is exactly what you're
Ethan,
doing. You are
Ethan,
a anti-Semite,
Ethan,
and you've been caught out 3
Ethan.
different times calling me crazy for very viable examples of anti-Semitism that you should at least be able to admit are at least not insane. Maybe a misunderstanding, but not insane. But no, according to you, they're all hallucinations. So go ahead and tell me why you're not dog whistling.
Yes, because because people having an issue with your statements.
Oh my god, dude, the way he talks, what a condescending douchebag. And Ethan completely nailed it here. Hassan just uses other people to achieve his goals and then pretends that he has nothing to do with it, right? Like, oh, the people called CPS on Ethan's kids, I completely disavow that, guys. But also, I support the people who did that, and I support Denims, and I support Bad Empanada, who openly contributed to that call and openly harass Ethan. Now we get to a very disgusting part. I probably can't even show most of this, but Hassan spends like 20 straight minutes denying women's trauma and saying that SA didn't even happen. I've never seen someone this desperately defend terrorists R-wording women. Like, it's just crazy how unhinged this guy is.
What do you mean?
I know
kind of?
exactly what he was
Ethan,
planning to
Ethan,
do.
You
And
literally
yet I couldn't do
featured-
anything to prevent
Wait, pause it for a second.
No.
I was
Listen to what she has
utterly
to say,
helpless.
Hassan.
When the
Ethan,
assault
I
was
don't
over.
Hassan, don't
disagree with
silence
this.
her.
You
Let her f***ing
literally
talk.
Wasn't
mentioned
even
me.
allowed
No, because you're acting like this never happened.
What am I supposed to do in the situation when there are no victims that have come forward?
4
and the
victims just gave
speculation is that
first-hand
the
testimony.
victims
I read it to
probably
you.
died, but there's no forensic examination.
Pixar didn't
there has
happen.
been no justice for
What do you
these
think the odds are
victims
that people are
Pixar
getting
didn't happen.
massacred by
on
Hamas?
October 7
What do you think
due
the
to the
probability
fact that
is?
the government completely
I'm cracking
What's the
my
ruined
root beer.
By the way, Hassan is asking for pics or it didn't happen in a literal war. Hassan, believe it or not, you can't actually go to court in the middle of a war and arrest the people who are essaying women. Like, pause, guys, pause the war for a second. Stop bombing, guys. Stop for a second. We need to get video evidence of essay for Hassan, guys. He literally sees several women speak out about it, and he's no doubt seen the video evidence of it happening online as well, and is like, nah, actually, I like the terrorist. I mean, they call me Hamas Piker for a reason, baby. SA is completely fine as long as it happens to people I disagree with politically. Actually, not even disagree. Ethan actually agrees with like 95% of what Hassan thinks here. So Ethan literally supports Palestine. So this is how Hassan treats you when he disagrees with you like 1%. Anyways, then Hassan tries to guilt trip Ethan, saying that you ruined iDubbbz's Creator Clash 3 and charity event, and we made whole videos on that. Obviously, it was not Ethan's fault.
His entire Creator Clash isn't ruined. The event is going to be fucking absolutely canceled. He's probably not even going to be able to reimburse most of the fighters for the time they trained. How is that not a train wreck?
Ethan,
I'm just saying.
I am not iDubbbz. I don't care about your petty vendetta against iDubbbz. Play the
You were video.
clip.
Guys, how
Yeah.
I see Israel. Because
You're
you
in
don't
the
see that
video.
when you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking
Yes, you ruined a charity event. I hope you're proud.
Here's the facts. Ethan did not ruin anything. You and your friend group ruined this charity event because you are so extremist and so unlikable that the general public, after seeing this drama online, decided not to support this event and use their time and money elsewhere. It's not Ethan's fault that people realized what a massive scumbag you guys actually are. And if iDubbbz didn't release the content cop and start this whole thing, the event would probably be fine. And honestly, you guys don't have a good track record. I don't imagine it would earn anything anyways because the last one lost $250,000. Now Hassan tries to defend that time when he said he has no problem with a terrorist group.
Don't you think saying you have no issue with Hezbollah makes people think you're pro-terrorist?
I don't care that people think this. It's ridiculous.
So are people valid for thinking you're pro-terrorist when
Do you believe the State Department's designation for
answer the
terrorism is
question.
valid?
Is it reasonable for people to think that you are pro-terrorist when you say I have no problem with Hezbollah?
Do you believe
Whoa,
the State
answer the
Department's
question.
designation
you
for
gotta answer that
terrorism is
one.
valid?
You answer my question and I'll answer yours. Are people valid?
Ethan,
and
you
considering
rely heavily on
Can you
your
answer?
audience not really
Can you
understanding
please
the
answer my
terms that
question?
you are using.
Let it be
okay?
noted you are dodging.
When you say the face
oh my God,
to
bro,
talk
you're
about
doing it
these
again.
issues,
Hassan, actually answer a question challenge. 100% impossible. This absolute idiot cannot answer a single question. This is the most pointless debate, man. Hassan, when confronted on his lies and extremism, just talks about some random other shit, talks over Ethan, refuses to answer the question.
I'm saying your community
Bro,
is
Reddit-
responsible for this participating in this harassment campaign. Why did you
Balls.
criticize XQC for not moderating his chat when you called in?
Ethan,
Why
I can't believe you
did
would,
you
I can't
criticize
believe you would bring this up. Here,
XQC
let me tell
for
you,
not
okay?
moderating his chat?
My argument with you in that conversation
I think
where
that
I said
Hassan
there's
absolutely
not, there's
weaponizes
not
his
anything
community.
I can do.
He does
was
it all the time when he
literally because
tweets
of the way
negatively
you
at
were
people
presenting
while
yourself.
he's on
In
stream.
the conversation,
Hassan's chat is like the most toxic place in the universe. You could like make out with a venomous snake and you'd still have less poison than spending a second in that chat. And I feel like he absolutely enables all of the harassment. His insane psychotic community of unemployed losers will do absolutely anything to ruin people's lives that is against Hassan. Now Ethan talks about Bad Empanada, the guy who threatened to kill Ethan's wife in a video game.
Who's like you?
So you do have a problem. You do have a problem with
Matt Lieb specifically.
Jews
Yes.
that you don't like, and you are quick
I have
to
a
call them
problem with Matt
capos.
Lieb, who's platforming Bad Empanada. Yes, clearly. Is there you don't like Bad Empanada? You understand? A year ago, you were talking about how crazy he
Yes,
was.
but yeah, but I'm not.
But suddenly, when he
Here's the
starts talking
difference.
about me,
Here's the
he's your
difference,
best friend.
Ethan.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think Bad Empanada is insane. But you know what? I also
And all of a
always
sudden,
say?
you love his videos. Why is that?
Bad Empanada.
Why do you
and
love
I've
his
maintained
videos
this
suddenly?
position- I've
Before
maintained
you
this
pledged never to
position-
watch his videos on stream. Why do you love them now?
Oh, because he was he did not want me reacting to his videos.
That is
Initially,
insane, pathetic,
no,
bold-faced
that's
lie.
what it is. No, he said
You literally
I have.
told. Oh
I
my
have,
God,
I
dude.
have. YouTube essays, especially when it's issue specific, are actually very instructive.
Then why are you watching ones
very
called
informative.
Ethan Klein is a Zionist baby killer? Why are you watching that one? Is that part of his master body of collection? Is that part of the Criterion collection there, buddy?
Once again, Hassan just avoiding all accountability. Like, I watch his videos on stream, I endorse everything he says and does, but actually, guys, he's kind of insane, and I actually don't support him. But I will also promote him if he's shitting on Ethan. Like, how bad faith can you be?
Why does Bad... Okay, it is good. Why does Bad Empanada role-play hunting Hila and killing her in video games?
Have I ever said that I think that's appropriate?
I think... No, of course not. But what you are doing is endorsing this guy.
The content that I'm consuming from a guy who I do think is doing well-sourced, well-researched YouTube essays, who also happens to be a fucking freak.
Yeah, guys, it just happens that the absolute freak psychopath is on my side, so I will actually promote him, guys. So Hassan here essentially just admits that he will support anyone that is against Ethan and that is with his politics. It doesn't matter if they're terrorists. It doesn't matter if it's people calling CPS on his kids. It doesn't matter if it's the worst human scum like Bad Empanada. As long as Hassan can profit, he will use it and promote it. Actual disgusting clown, but it only gets worse. Hassan makes one of the most insane comparisons you will ever see. He compares a Houthi terrorist pirate to Anne Frank.
You still agree that he's just like Anne Frank?
Did you not hear what I asked you?
I'm just summarizing.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Anne Frank died before she could resist. But if she did, I would
She
never
was
hold that
fucking
against
killed in
her.
a concentration camp, you
Exactly.
psychopath.
But if she
was
did,
exterminated
but
with
if
her
she
whole
did,
fucking
I would
family. Her
never hold
dad's
that
the only
against
one
her.
that
Would
survived
you?
and recovered
But
her
you
journal.
wouldn't
Are you
hold
fucking
against her
mad?
either, Ethan? Right? Would you hold that against her? Would you hold that against
I wouldn't
Anne
hold
Frank
it
if
against her,
she-
but she wouldn't be the same historical figure that said, despite my family being killed in concentration camp and everyone being murdered, I'm still a pacifist that sees the good in people. What the f what's so confusing about that? not kill Zionists, not nuke Israel, not a pike through Zionist assholes.
I can't believe we're once again discussing the posts of a dude in Yemen.
You
who
really
is
like to do
19
that.
years old.
Yes, just a guy from Yemen, guys. A guy who bombs ships and kidnaps people that are unrelated to the war. Just a guy, guys. You know, Luffy from One Piece that threatens to impale people on Twitter, says death to all J, death to America. You know, just definitely a guy that's not a terrorist, guys. He's actually a victim. He's actually in Frank. Give this guy the Nobel Peace Prize. Actually, he's resisting against the oppressive force. Don't you understand? Now, this next part is absolute gold. Ethan basically just confronts Hassan on his claim that Hila should have just gone to prison instead of enlisting in the army in mandatory service.
Hassan, you say that Hila could have gone to jail and done a conscientious objection instead of joining the army. Why do you pay taxes?
What?
Why do you pay taxes to the United States
This
government?
is your big argument, Ethan?
Answer the question.
That I pay taxes and I'm morally culpable? I know. That's why I try to
Why don't you
fight
go to
against this
jail?
goddamn government
Why
doing
don't
this
you
shit every
stand up
day.
for your Why don't you stand up for your principles and go to jail for it?
Because it would not actually stop, okay? It would not actually stop.
Yeah, kind of like Hila refusing to do mandatory service at age 18 and not going to jail for it will not change anything about what the IDF does, you absolute freaking moron. So let me get this straight. Hassan wants other people to go to jail to fight for some cause, but he won't actually do it himself, you know? So obviously Hassan hates America, hates the government, hates that they're funding this war and stuff, but he still pays taxes. Fight for what you believe in, Hassan. What the hell? If you're really noble, you'll stop paying taxes and actually go to jail. Oh wait, it's actually not that easy, you absolute flippin' bobblehead. Now finally Hassan realizes that he's completely lost the debate and he does the classic Hassan tactic, screams and calls the other person racist. Hassan crashes out and does his classic bit, you freaking racist piece of shit.
By that, we did not leave Iraq because we were Zionists. We left because we were no longer safe.
Iraqis are not Palestinian, you fucking moron, you racist piece of shit.
What?
Because Iraq and the pan-Arabic
They
nationalist
left-
movements that arise out of
You are
Zionist
out of your
violence
mind.
is not about Palestinians.
Okay, so
You
what did
cannot
the
make
Jews
this
in Iraq
comparison.
have to do with
Zionists
Israel,
are the ones
you
who
bigot?
actually fucking
You are
terrorize the
so out of your
Palestinians.
mind.
Oh my god, dude, this is wonderful. Like, I love this. I love seeing Hassan just lose his mind. I've never seen someone melt down this much. The second he realized that Ethan completely destroyed him, you know, everybody is against him, everybody is realizing he's being exposed as a fraud, he's like, Ethan, you racist piece of I mean, it is just sad, man. Grown man in your 30s behaving like this. Yikes. Now, this next part, Ethan makes a very good point. He says you need to be empathetic towards all human beings. If you dehumanize people, you end up being extremists like Hassan.
That he would laugh
Your
at you.
failure
Do you not understand?
to acknowledge
I know
the
you're trying to
trauma
fucking
of
flip
both
farm here,
groups
but you
is the
don't
reason
understand.
why
It's a-
you are a radical fucking propagandist liar. Both trauma needs to be acknowledged by both groups. There's two things that need to be true for this ever to be resolved peacefully.
You're right.
Palestinian
I'm sorry.
self-determination
Israel should keep
and,
doing a
and
genocide.
Israelis' right to have secure
Israel-
borders.
Zionism
As
was
long
a-
as you
was an
ignore that, there
inevitability.
will
You're
always
right.
be war. Palestinians will always die, and you will continue to make money from it.
Yep, that's basically what I've been saying this entire time. Hassan and his friend group do not care about the Palestinian cause or the war at all. They just want to extract more money from their viewers. If you're a Hassan viewer watching this, he is absolutely playing you like a fiddle. And I hope to God one day you will actually see it. This guy sits in his $3 million mansion pretending to care about all these causes. Meanwhile, he buys a Porsche while you remain broke and angry, and he weaponizes you. He uses your anger, uses you as an attack vehicle to do horrific things. It's just sad, man. I feel like you should not be manipulated, you know?
Always remember, Hassan, that when people criticize me, I watch it on my stream by myself live, unlike a made coward like yourself who needs someone to hold your hand, make all the excuses in the world to avoid any single criticism, any response. You, my friend, are a coward, and I am the fucking legend that responded to it live with zero hesitation. But you know why? Because I'm not a liar. I don't have to think about the shit that I say and justify it. You lie. That's why you can't do it, because you'll get caught in those lies.
This was the worst day in Hassan's life. I don't think he ever expected to get this absolutely destroyed. I don't think he'll ever debate anyone ever again. And now I kind of see why he was so desperate and coming up with any excuse to avoid this debate. Now, somebody also caught that Twitch staff was simping in Hassan's chat during the debate. Like, Ethan is being so freaking disingenuous. How long has this been going on now? Hey, Tectone, maybe this guy banned you. Could be. And this just shows how biased Twitch actually is. Now, as for who won the debate, Asmongold's chat is saying Ethan, and I'm pretty much the entire internet is saying Ethan, unless you're a radical Hassan viewer, obviously.
But I think that overall, I think Ethan did come out on top with this debate, and I think that he did look better. And I think that especially with like a lot of the clips and the things that Hassan ended up saying, like, for example, I mean, Hassan basically said that it's acceptable and okay to target innocent civilian ships and then take those civilians hostage, and it's a means of negotiation or some type of pressure. Now, in my opinion, I mean, you're basically endorsing a terrorist organization at that point. I mean, this is terrorism. I mean, if you look at the definition of it, that is terrorism. And so I don't know what's going to happen with that. Should Hassan be banned for that? I think that if you make a liberal reading of the TOS, it's undeniable that that would be the case.
I mean, let's be honest, Hassan is never getting any actual consequences on Twitch. The only thing he will be getting is a hand job from the Twitch moderators.
Like, anybody who watched that debate and thought that Hassan didn't look like a moron and didn't look bad, you've been completely ideologically captured. Bro, I've never seen somebody play more defense for rape in my life. Never in my life. It was impressive.
Isn't Hassan supposed to be on the believe all women side? Like, what happened to that? Anyways, after this, Hassan reacts to the aftermath and everyone thinking he lost the debate, and he just melts down.
But 100% Ethan was more grounded and you were rambling. 26 month subscriber. Bro, this is literally the profile of a type of person that is the Ethan Klein head. So in the upcoming days, you will see an endless sea of brigaders who are like, Ethan was so calm and kept his composure the entire time. And my Twitch chat will absolutely be brigaded to oblivion with people going, he was so intelligent. You got owned, little bro.
That's right. Everyone who thinks I lost the debate, they're all brigaders. They're all haters. They're just these random hateful people. Whatever helps you sleep at night, man. Anyways, here's XQC's reaction.
Hassan's chat is a absolute one-sided war zone. The shit that people type in that mother sucker's box is awful. Almost everything that people are very strong about, opinions about, if you were to reverse the roles on any of these topics, if they would be permabanned, not in his chat, on the platform. You reverse these takes, you replace the, let's say it's Jewish or whatever the with another component, any other components, they would get banned off the platform legitimately.
Hassan, I think, got massively exposed. No offense to Ethan, but this is a guy who does a comedy podcast or whatever versus Hassan who does politics for 12 hours a day.
And he just gets destroyed by Ethan on
He should
political
be
knowledge.
able to run circles. He should have like 3 facts for every single random thing. Hassan didn't know anything.
Now click this video or you have to go on a date with Frogan. And actually, they've ran out of food at the restaurant. You're on the menu, pal. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
You were triggered by this CPS harassment thing.
Okay, iDubbbz has just dropped a content deputy video on
It's undeniable that positions of power attract those hungry to exploit it. The prospect of being a police officer, while attractive to those with the best intentions, also have the potential to give bad actors a free pass to hurt innocent people, both verbally and physically. But a very select few who crave this power decide to forego the standard 40 weeks at the police academy and just illegally pretend to be police officers instead. You might be surprised to learn that this is not an uncommon issue by any means, with dozens of hours of footage online showcasing various civilians illegally masquerading as law enforcement. However, one individual has managed to stand out above the rest.
Do you want to be a cop, or do you want to appear to be a cop? It's an honest question. A lot of guys want to appear to be cops. Gun, badge, pretend they're on TV.
Over here now! Pull your car here now! Get out of the fucking way! Move your fucking car! Right here! Get out of the way! When your mom or grandma dies, I hope they cut into you, too. Show some fucking respect. Where the fuck are you going? Get out of my funeral now! Get out of my funeral now! Get out of my funeral now and stay there until we're clear, or I'm gonna take you down myself. Drive! Drive! Go! Hey! 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 Pull over! Pull over! Hey! Get your fucking car out of the way now! I don't know what you I don't give a fuck what you don't understand! Pull forward now! Pull forward now! Get your fucking car out of the way now! I don't give a fuck what you don't understand! Pull forward now! Pull forward now!
Jeremy Charles DeWitt was born on February 10, 1980 in Central Florida. With dreams of becoming a police officer one day, young Jeremy enlisted in a dual enrollment program in high school, in which he would spend his nights at the police academy and his days with the local Orange County Police Explorers program. This program allows teens and young adults to receive early training and experience in preparation for a future career in law enforcement. It was clear that Jeremy was eager to get his foot in the door. However, with his involvement in day-to-day police duties, opportunities to facilitate traffic and crowd control, and of course a snappy official police officer's uniform, it's likely that Jeremy felt he had already achieved his dream. That explains why, before he even had a chance to officially enter the academy, an 18-year-old Jeremy was arrested for impersonating a police officer on May 18, 1998. After pulling into a gas station, Jeremy filled his car up with $14.50 of gasoline. Jeremy's prepaid mobile card was declined when he attempted to pay for the gas, and supposedly he had no other means to pay. Naturally, the gas station attendant requested the standard issue gas card that's given to all Florida police officers, but Jeremy said he left it at home. On the principle that he was a police officer, he pledged to return later, which the attendant allowed. And as a show of goodwill, Jeremy even gave the gas station employee his full name, address, date of birth, and phone number. However, he never returned. So the attendant called the police, and Jeremy was arrested a few days later. It probably wasn't a great idea to give his personal information to the clerk of the store he was robbing, but whatever. $14.50 is the price that Jeremy was unwilling to pay to not completely destroy his life. Had he simply not stolen from the gas station that day, he likely would have continued on his path to become a cop. But after committing this felony offense, Jeremy was completely ineligible to ever be a real police officer. But this wouldn't deter him from pursuing his dream. He sought out alternatives, such as working as a security guard at an apartment complex where he apparently was reported for illegally detaining and searching one of the residents. This job didn't seem to be too fulfilling for him, however, as he felt his true calling was to protect and serve the public. So he continued to impersonate law enforcement for the foreseeable future. However, this behavior would catch up with him when he was arrested on August 29, 2001 for, you guessed it, impersonating law enforcement. You see, earlier that day, Jeremy arrived at a local mechanic with what looked like an unmarked police cruiser. He told an employee at the mechanic to bill the Orange County Sheriff's Department for the car's repairs, implying that it was, in fact, an unmarked police car. He also claimed that a mark on the side of the vehicle was the result of an altercation in which he was attempting to detain a criminal at the scene of a crime. Most damning, Jeremy supposedly directly confirmed he was indeed a cop and was working undercover at the local mall. During the inspection, the mechanic observed that the car had all the bells and whistles you would expect, with a working police radio and lights. Jeremy was also wearing what is described as a police-like uniform and a bulletproof vest. But one curious bystander who witnessed the interaction became suspicious and called the police. When questioned by actual police officers, Jeremy denied ever claiming to be a cop himself, but he was insistent that the investigators didn't look at his criminal record, which would obviously show that he had a history of impersonation. Not only would they find his previous arrest from the gas theft, but also an instance in 1999 when he was arrested for using a fake name on his driver's license and was carrying a concealed weapon. Even 4 months prior, he had been issued a citation for the use of flashing red and blue lights on his vehicle. Jeremy was on probation at the time due to his previous arrests, and the investigating officers promptly contacted his probation officer, who explicitly stated that Jeremy was indeed violating his probation. During a search of his car, which Jeremy consented to, the officers found police-style equipment like clipboards and radios. They also found a gun bag holder, which had a Dade County Sheriff's badge, a security badge, a knife, and various license plates. Then they searched his apartment and found law enforcement paraphernalia like batons, badges, patches, and police belts. One of these belts contained a holster with a black BB gun inside of it. All of this gave them probable cause to arrest Jeremy for violating his probation, as clearly he was still pretending to be law enforcement. He was found guilty and ordered to serve 1 year in the Orange County Jail, as well as being required to attend mental health counseling. He was also given 3 years of probation after his jail time and ordered to do 250 hours of community service. On top of that, his probation specifically required him not to possess any law enforcement officer equipment, meaning that his days of police impersonation were over. At least, they should have been over. After a year in the slammer, Jeremy was itching to protect and serve. In 2003, he was arrested for violating his community control, which is basically a stricter version of probation, and as a result, he was sentenced to 22 months in jail. Before he could officially be convicted of that crime, however, a warrant was issued for his arrest after multiple failures to pay traffic tolls, driving with a suspended license, as well as using a fake name on a driver's license, and the possession of a fraudulent identity card. Now, this fraudulent card in question had his name listed as Brett Eldon Solomon, which some of you in the audience may have noticed is not actually Jeremy's name. Brett was actually his roommate at the time. Jeremy had stolen his social security number and produced not only a fake ID, but also a fake passport with his name. This guy is addicted to identity theft. Ultimately, Jeremy was sentenced to 10 months in prison, which was the remaining time of his previous sentence after his 1 year and 64-day credit he already had for time served. Now, I know that the guy who pretends to be a police officer obviously has no problem doing illegal stuff, but it is really impressive how someone masquerading as a cop is so comfortable breaking the law. What this conundrum likely boils down to is that his desire to be a cop didn't come from a noble sense of protecting the peace, but instead it's just a free pass to do whatever he wants and a thirst for power. However, if you thought that Jeremy's blatant disregard for the law couldn't get any worse, you are sorely mistaken. For the majority of 2004, Jeremy managed to stay out of trouble, but he would once again find himself in scalding hot water in October of that year. And now 24-year-old Jeremy went out to a nightclub in Orlando, where he met a young woman who supposedly claimed to be 18 years old. They hooked up that night and met up again in November of that year. It all seemed fine until January of 2005, when a warrant was issued for his arrest for 2 charges of unlawful interactions with a minor. Apparently, the girl had lied about her age and was actually only 15. Now, whether Jeremy knew about this or not is uncertain, but the court did seem to believe there was enough evidence to warrant a conviction, as Jeremy ultimately chose to withdraw his original not guilty plea and instead accept a deal. The judge ruled he was guilty on 1 count of lewd or lascivious battery on July 20th, 2005. He was originally facing 15 years in prison, but instead he got off with a 1 year and 1 day sentence, also being sentenced to 5 years of sex offender probation. Jeremy served his time and was able to stay out of trouble for a few years after the fact. However, in April of 2009, a warrant for his arrest was issued due to him violating his probation, again, something he would admit to during his hearing on June 18th of that year. Facing another 8 years in prison, Jeremy's luck hadn't run out yet, and he was only forced to serve 4. As it turns out, he was trying to set up a junior varsity airsoft team full of minors, which he was not supposed to do, as part of his probation rested on the fact that he didn't engage with anyone under the age of 18. Despite habitually finding himself in and out of prison over the last 10 years, Jeremy was not deterred. There was no wake-up call or moment of clarity that helped him get his act together. He still wanted everything he couldn't have, specifically legally protected power, and he needed a way to achieve it. He couldn't become an actual police officer, and flat out lying about being one would send him right back to jail. He needed to find a loophole, and one fateful day, it appears he had an epiphany. In a video uploaded to his own personal YouTube channel, Jeremy actively breaks Section 316-306 of Florida state law by recording himself while operating a moving vehicle. Ironically, something he would probably harass someone else for if he got the opportunity. Petty nitpicking aside, he tells the story of the moment he found a way to exercise his power fantasy. One day, Jeremy was walking down the street with his wife. And yes, by the way, this guy somehow managed to find a woman willing to actually marry him. So enough out of you incels out there, okay? Anyone can find love. But more on his wife later. On their walk, they noticed a funeral escort service on the street. A funeral escort, for those unaware, is a service that provides guidance and protection for funeral processions as they cross through intersections and traffic lights. While blocking off traffic at the intersection near Jeremy and his wife, one of the traffic lights turned green, and a car outside of the procession mistakenly began driving through instead of waiting like they were supposed to. This caused a massive accident, which Jeremy described as very severe. He supposedly rushed to the aid of one of the passengers in the crash and called emergency services to have them rescued.
When that happened, I stepped back and said to myself and my wife, I can do this better. I know that I can do it better. I know that somebody should have always been there. I know that we should be following, or they should be following EVOC procedures.
Whether or not this story is true is not for me to say. However, I will say that I doubt that Jeremy's main concern at that time was upholding the pristine funeral escort services. Rather, he likely saw a profession in which he would be granted legal authority to use flashing lights, sirens, uniforms, and legally dictate the flow of traffic. It was the closest thing to a police officer that he could possibly be. This one event birthed the creation of Metro State Special Services in 2011. You might be asking, why did Jeremy choose the name Metro State? Well, it could have something to do with the fact that it's a combination of the terms Metro Police and State Police, but that's just my 2 cents. If the eerily police-like name isn't enough, consider how good it would look on a repurposed police cruiser, or a black and white motorcycle covered in police lights. Or perhaps consider the completely unnecessary funeral escort badge each quote-unquote motor officer is issued, which looks nearly identical to a standard issue police badge. I could go on and on with the comparisons, but I think you get the idea.
We got dual speakers in the front for louder air horning, multiple front lights, corner lights, side lights, 45-degree angle lights, and that's all for the reason of intersections. You know, you got to make sure the intersection knows that you're there. As you see, the lights are purple.
Jeremy had found a legal loophole, and he purchased 2 cars to begin his work. He also enlisted the help of his younger brother, Dylan, to assist him in his operations. Dylan shares more than just blood relations with his older brother, as he also has a propensity for crime. Both of the brothers would find themselves in legal trouble during their early years as funeral service escorts, with a plethora of traffic citations between the 2 of them. Dylan also managed to find himself placed on the sex offender registry for nearly the same exact crime as his brother Jeremy. Dylan was caught flirting with and sending graphic imagery to who he believed was an underage person, but was actually a local detective conducting a massive sting operation.
Why don't you have a seat?
I just need to get home. I'm not doing the show.
Go ahead and take a seat.
But I'm not going to do this.
Take a seat right over there.
But the thing that really united them is their shared passion for funeral service escorting. Right off the bat, they obviously look like police officers, but how does a job like this allow them the same power and control? Well, rather than explaining it to you, I think it's better that I just show it.
Get in the car and move up the wrong side of the road and get to me now. And then when that van gets, come on, wave that guy, come on. When that van, green artillery, get to me now. Get to me now. Move, move, move. Stay on your horn. Stay on your horn. You got movers. Stay on your horn. You got a mover on the left. Blue sedan pulling out right from a blind building. You! Get over now! Get over now! Get over now! Pull over! Hey! Pull your fucking car over! Pull over! Hey! 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 If you pull out of the funeral one more time, you're done. Drive! 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 Drive!
Jeremy DeWitt, along with his brother and other employees, frequently engaged in speeding, illegally weaving through traffic, and blaring their sirens during what's supposed to be a peaceful funeral service. Not to mention harassing, yelling, and swearing at random drivers for accidentally entering the procession line.
And stay there until we're clear, or I'm gonna take you down myself. Stop your vehicle. I'm not gonna tell you again. Sir, I'm not gonna fucking tell you again. Stay right fucking there. Stay right fucking there. Who the fuck do you think you are? I don't know what the fuck's going on. How do you fucking not know with all the sirens and lights, you lying motherfucker? What'd you call me? You heard me. Stay right there.
They're able to get away with it most of the time due to most people not realizing that they aren't actually police officers. That being said, some of the people they harass are able to sniff them out almost immediately.
I'm sorry? Are you okay?
I'm great. Are you law enforcement?
I'm asking you a question. Are you okay?
If you're not law enforcement, I'm not stopping for you.
Listen, if you keep going, we'll figure it out real fast.
Let's figure it out real fast. If you're law enforcement, identify yourself to me. What agency?
We're with Metro State, and we're a state-certified agency. You sit right there, please, sir.
I think it's worth taking the time to explain what a funeral procession escort service actually has the jurisdiction to do. According to Florida state law, funeral processions are afforded freedom to pass through intersections as long as the escort arrives at the intersection when the light is still green. Once the light turns red, they are permitted to remain there and prevent the flow of traffic to allow the procession to pass through. Other drivers are responsible for giving the procession procession the right of way. However, escort services are not allowed to direct traffic or enforce drivers to pull over, much like Metro State can be seen doing in these clips. As mentioned prior, they're also not allowed to speed, drive over the road's median, force drivers in oncoming traffic to pull over. Basically, they have no legal authority to do literally anything. All they're allowed to do is go through a green light, and if the light turns red, they can keep going until the procession is passed through the intersection. That's it. Taking a look at Florida state law in regards to police impersonation, the law clearly states, a person who falsely assumes or pretends to be a sheriff or officer of the Florida Highway Patrol and takes upon himself to act as such, or to require any other person to aid or assist him in a matter pertaining to the duty of any such officer, commits a felony of the 3rd degree. The key phrase here is to act as such. We could get into the finer details of how Jeremy blatantly presents himself as law enforcement, but when he and his crew are instructing drivers to pull over and stopping cars in the middle of the street, they are inherently breaking the law, regardless of what they're wearing or how they present themselves physically, which definitely don't help their case. I also think that it's important to point out that in clips where Jeremy is asked if he is a police officer, he avoids the question entirely, saying things like, I know what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do.
What are you doing? What the fuck does it look like I'm doing, dumb fuck? Get the fuck over before you find out.
Stop pretending you're a police officer.
Listen, motherfucker, I know what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. What you need to do is figure it the fuck out before you start talking shit and cutting us off.
I'm not cutting anyone.
Go ahead and pull your little phone out,
I'm not
do your little
anyone
Google search and figure out what we're doing and what we legally allow. Good. Then back off and give us room.
I'm not interfering with you at all.
You are.
He does this in the hope of potentially convincing those he seeks to intimidate without directly breaking the law. That's not to say he isn't breaking the law, he absolutely is. And this will be shown by multiple interactions with the police that we'll continue to discuss throughout the rest of this video.
The Stop Gooning hat is back on turkeytom.shop, the latest and
specifically risk kick. And moved to America to be with Jeremy. On top of that, their marriage license was issued on July 19th, 2005, which happened to be the same day that Jeremy pled guilty for his 2005 case involving the 15-year-old girl. I guess they decided to just get married on the same day he pled guilty, kill two birds with one stone kind of thing. Despite her spending years without her husband while he rotted in jail, she wanted to remain with him and stay faithful. Jeremy, on the other hand, was less fulfilled by their relationship, specifically in the bedroom, which likely prompted his decision to create an account on Ashley Madison. For the unaware, Ashley Madison is a dating site designed specifically for married people looking to arrange an affair behind their partner's back. Under the username SFOps2015, which references the phrase Special Force Operations, Jeremy began seeking women, specifically non-white exotic women who wanted more than just money. Luckily, Jeremy found just what he was looking for in a woman named Jennifer Burton. The two began chatting before exchanging contact details for the private messaging service Kick. During their conversation, Jeremy told Jennifer that he was a police officer, and his profile picture on Kick read, "Every cop who puts this on in the morning knows there's a chance they might not come back at night. Let's appreciate our cops." We also have some of their interactions, which are very funny. "You want me to call you? Is that you?" Yup. On their first date, Jeremy showed up with police equipment and arrived in his Metro State cruiser. They had a nice dinner at the Palm restaurant located in the Hard Rock Cafe and planned on getting a room after, but for some reason they weren't able to get a room, so they settled in at the local Comfort Inn and Suites instead. After a night of fun, the two parted ways. Jeremy had kept his name private, referring to himself only as Jay. Jennifer had learned of his last name, however, due to a patch that revealed his name was DeWitt. So she began searching different variations of his name to learn more about him, eventually correctly guessing the name of Jeremy DeWitt. That's when she discovered that he was a convicted felon and a registered sex offender. This concerned her greatly, considering it meant that he was pretending to be a cop. Jennifer confronted him about this, and he continued to lie. Originally claiming his name was in fact Jay, he insisted that he was allowed to carry a gun on his belt, and he also claimed that his sex offender status was bogus. He also notably claimed that he joined the U.S. Special Forces, another complete lie that Jeremy will continue to push for the foreseeable future. Jeremy has a different side side of the story, however. He claims their first date took place in December of 2017, as opposed to Jennifer, who claimed the date was in March of 2018. He says they only had sex one time, the day of their first date, and they never got down and dirty ever again. Shortly after, Jennifer began asking for money. While he did oblige her with cash for a while, when Jeremy's wife found out that he was giving her money, she put an end to it. Shortly after he stopped sending the funds, he was contacted by the cops in relation to an anonymous tip in which he was accused of smuggling firearms. After a thorough investigation, the police turned up with no evidence of that claim. Regardless of what really happened, it's certain that Jennifer decided to call the police on Jeremy, noted by a police report in April of 2018. On the 7th of that month, a warrant was issued for his arrest for 2 counts of failing to register online accounts as a sex offender. You see, part of Jeremy's conditions as an offender were that he had to inform the police of any online accounts he created, which he hadn't done for his Ashley Madison or his Kick. A trial ensued and it would continue for some time. However, unbeknownst to the courts, Jennifer and Jeremy had already made amends 1 month after his arrest. Supposedly, Jeremy heavily pressured her to change her testimony during this time, threatening to either flee to Egypt with his wife or take his own life. Yes, by the way, even after learning of his affair, his wife stayed with him. The two seemed to remain out of each other's lives for some time, but it all came crashing down in the early months of the following year. On February 20th, 2019, Jennifer called the cops and alleged that on January 28th, she had been assaulted by Jeremy. Under the pretense that Jeremy wanted to show off his new ambulances for Metro State, Jennifer arrived at the headquarters. Supposedly, Jeremy had coerced her inside of the ambulance and assaulted her inside of it. The police and Jennifer eventually decided to do a controlled phone call in which Jennifer would call Jeremy to gather evidence while the police listened in. However, when she called, she was shocked to hear a woman answer the phone, a woman by the name of Jessica. Jennifer claimed to have not known who Jessica was, yet surprisingly, Jessica knew that Jennifer was, quote, not allowed to call Jeremy. This is likely because Jennifer had filed a restraining order against Jeremy just a day before she called the police about the assault. On the 6th of February, she had written an email to the judicial assistant presiding over Jeremy's pending case, where she revealed that Jeremy had been attempting to get her to change her story and revoke her claims. Supposedly, when this was discovered, Jeremy and his employees began sending Jennifer harassing phone calls, and she was eventually granted a restraining order against him. But ultimately, this allegation of sexual assault went nowhere, as it appears to be fabricated. Shortly after, Jeremy accepted a plea deal of 1 year of community control. However, 2 weeks later, he had already managed to violate it, resulting in his subsequent arrest. He faced 5 years in prison, but ultimately was sentenced to only 30 days, with 23 days already served, meaning he spent 1 whole week in jail before becoming a free man once again. Once he was out, the no-contact order against Jennifer was lifted. If you're confused about all of this, that's because the situation is genuinely confusing. From what I'm able to figure out, Jennifer had become jealous when she discovered Jessica's existence. Full name Jessica Bolden, she seems to be another quote-unquote exotic woman that Jeremy met on Ashley Madison. It appears that after Jennifer learned about her involvement in Jeremy's life, she became jealous and began trying to get Jessica arrested. Both Jeremy and Jessica seem to believe that Jennifer is responsible for an anonymous CPS call against her as well. This anonymous CPS caller claimed that Jessica was doing drugs and drinking, and also claimed to have witnessed Jessica's children playing with Heineken bottles. In a follow-up call, the individual claimed that one of her children was friends with Jessica's daughter. They also alleged that Jessica's boyfriend was molesting the young girl, and that she didn't care to stop it. Notably, they claim that the boyfriend in question is a registered offender, drives a security car, and has a wife named Rania, clearly referencing Jeremy. Ultimately, these allegations never amounted to anything, including the investigation into Jeremy's alleged assault of Jennifer, which, as mentioned prior, turned up no evidence of wrongdoing. From what I can tell, Jennifer is probably some form of mentally ill, in a manner that somehow makes Jeremy DeWitt look pretty normal, which is impressive. Jennifer herself has a long history with law enforcement and filing reports. In March of 2018, her own grandmother filed a request for her eviction from her apartment. She claimed that Jennifer was both physically and verbally abusive. She also claims that Jennifer has a long history of filing false police reports, including unspecified accusations she made against her grandmother's son. The final straw was a police report she filed against her grandmother, which resulted in her arrest. Jessica, on the other hand, is a bit more sane. At least as sane as you can be while consenting to be in a relationship with a guy like Jeremy. However, she was well aware of Jeremy's propensity to get involved with law enforcement. In fact, she was even present for a verbal confrontation between Jeremy and police officers called on him by suspicious bystanders. The confrontation itself isn't too interesting, with the cops questioning his apparel and his intentions. However, Jeremy makes a notable claim while arguing with a nearby security guard.
Representing your company well right now, okay?
Security guard?
No, he's not.
You don't need to worry about who
Security.
I am. Are you cleared for that?
He owns this business.
Are you cleared for that? Sir, what's your GS level? Because I know what my military level was, my classification.
Okay, we don't need to go through.
Okay.
Jeremy claims he can recall his military level, implying that he served in the military. That's because Jeremy likes lying about much more than just him serving as a member of the police force.
What branch of the military were you in?
Army.
Army? So was I. Where were you stationed?
I was Benning and then I was Bragg. I was originally a Ranger, 3rd Battalion out of Benning, and then I was 3rd Group out of Bragg.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you. What did you do?
So you jumped.
Oh yeah, I've been jump certified since I was 18.
Wow.
That's why I left the Army. I had a streamer. My riser popped when I was going into Fallujah.
Jeremy even claims that he was jump certified and parachuted into the Second Battle of Fallujah, a very famous battle in the Iraq War that took place in November of 2004. We know this isn't the case for two reasons. Number one, that would conflict with the timeline of his encounter with the 15-year-old girl that ultimately put him on the sex offender registry. And number two, a Freedom of Information request was made and revealed that there is no evidence of Jeremy serving in the military at all. On top of that, while it's not impossible, it's pretty difficult for felons to be allowed to join the military. Despite this chaotic string of events, Jeremy once again found himself a free man. Of course, he still hadn't learned from his mistakes and would continue blurring the line between funeral escort and a badass crime stopper. But before he could get arrested for that, he would have the police called on him during a domestic disturbance in June of 2019. While on vacation in Chicago with his wife, the two stayed in an Airbnb. Jeremy had the cops called on him after he was seen throwing metal chairs off of the 6-story balcony, something he claims to have done in order to get the attention of a tow truck driver he had called to tow his car.
Do me a favor, turn around. Hold on. He pulled a weapon on you. He pulled a weapon on you. Yes, he did. He pulled a weapon on you. He pulled a weapon on you. What are you guys doing? My badge. Where's my badge? Where's my badge, Rania? I have my badge and my information in the car. Florida? Yes. Okay, give us one. You need to come down for us.
Man, we figured things out. It's gonna be fast.
Stop him first.
Jeremy was placed in handcuffs and eventually placed in the back of a cruiser. He lied to the police and told them he was a cop, which the arresting officers took his word on in good faith. This lie is also why they chose to do Jeremy a solid and offered that under the condition that he apologized directly to the tow truck driver, they would not officially book him. Jeremy promised that he would quote-unquote eat humble pie and simply apologize, but he seemingly refused to truly take accountability during his half-hearted apology.
I am sorry. I didn't know who you were at first, and then when you're trying to hook up, I'm screaming down. You heard me screaming. I was trying to stop you from doing it because we're allowed to be there. And I don't know where the communication error is happening, how these people are calling the police or the towing, and your dispatch, I understand you're just doing your job. But when you pulled the screwdriver, I'm worried about my wife's safety.
What do you mean pull the screwdriver?
He's not pulling the screwdriver to attack anyone.
Why would he on me? I'm gonna press it then. Because you're lying on me. I never saw your wife.
Calm down. Stop. Listen to me for a minute. Do you think he'd actually pull a screwdriver on a woman? Come on. She's like a quarter of the size.
Roger. Yes.
That's silly.
No, I'm sorry. All right, brother, I swear I am sorry.
We got to do the report. You got to cover that damage for him.
Jeremy may have managed to dodge any tangible repercussions this time, but a few months later, it would be a different story. On September 7th, 2019, Jeremy was arrested once again, but this time it was during business hours, and the entire thing was recorded on an actual officer's body cam for us to see.
Sergeant, my vehicle's not stolen, Sergeant. I can tell you right now, everything's being videotaped on my body cam, Sergeant. Okay, you're so, that's not a firearm, Sergeant. Hey, officers, at
getting this all on video camera. And I can promise you, this isn't going to go the way you're planning.
2 days later, Jeremy gave an interview to a local news network where he demanded a letter of apology and a suspension for the officers involved. He also voiced concerns on how this arrest might negatively affect his business and said that arresting him during a funeral service was in poor taste.
At no point should I ever been pulled over. At no point should I have ever been put in handcuffs. At no point should I ever been stripped of my gear in public while the funeral that I worked for was passing by. So now my business is going to suffer. I'm definitely going to want some kind of suspension and definitely a letter of apology.
It also appears that Jeremy was nearly arrested about a week later after an off-duty deputy sheriff noticed Jeremy and his team holding up traffic at an intersection. Supposedly, Jeremy approached the man, unaware that he was a cop, and began harassing him. Jeremy physically hit the man's car, put his hand on his gun holster, and began yelling profanities at him. All the while, the man's wife and 4-year-old child were in the back seat. Jeremy was, for some reason, not arrested for this. However, one of his employees, Randall Brocchius, real name by the way, was arrested for having an actual 9mm handgun on his belt.
What kind of weapon is that?
It's a 1911.
It's a regular handgun?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you have your, what do you have to carry that weapon openly in the state of Florida?
I have a G license.
G license, but the problem is this is not a security company.
Okay.
So by the law, you're under arrest.
Randall has a short history of similar incidents himself related to openly displaying a firearm in public. Jeremy also had the cops called on him on the 26th of September. That's right, 3 times in 1 month alone. But who's counting? A woman called the police on him after seeing him directing traffic and believed he was impersonating a police officer, which he was, although it doesn't appear he received any legal consequences for this. 1 month later, Jeremy was arrested again, this time for the same charge as his previous arrest. Only a few weeks after that, on November 15th, 2019, he was arrested again for, I mean, you can probably guess, he robbed an ice cream truck.
We're hearing from the local ice cream truck driver who was robbed by 3 young children in the Skyline area.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, it was it was impersonating a police officer. If I'm counting properly, that's at least 5 different documented encounters with the cops in the span of 2.5 months. Now, is this because Jeremy was becoming increasingly negligent and belligerent in his work as time progressed? Well, that's almost certainly a factor. But the main reason for all of these arrests and verbal warnings is due to the police cracking down on his little operation. Corporal John Ramsey and Sergeant Keith Vidler were both tasked with finding a way to put Jeremy behind bars for good. The best way to describe the dynamic between Jeremy and Sergeant Vidler in particular is that of mortal enemies. Jeremy directly claimed that Sergeant Vidler had been targeting and harassing him and his employees. Jeremy specifically believed the influx in recent arrests was due to this harassment campaign. He specifically said in his interview with the local news, "The fact that we were running our business for 10 years with no problems, and then all of a sudden now it keeps happening over and over, it's a little confusing and very discerning." This doesn't seem to be entirely true, as Jeremy was pulled over by the aforementioned Corporal John Ramsey in 2015 for his illegal use of an air horn. Although there is a bit of truth to what Jeremy claims. From 2009 to 2018, the sheriff of Orange County was Jerry Demings, and Jeremy was only arrested twice during his reign. Once for failure to register as a sex offender, and once for violating his probation. But anything to do with his work at Metro State never resulted in an arrest. It was only when Jeremy Demings was elected mayor of Orange County and John Mina became Orange County's new sheriff that things began to change. And even Jeremy himself has said as much. This has led some people to believe that perhaps Jeremy had a deal with Sheriff Demings that kept him out of trouble, although there's no proof of that. Ultimately, a major development would come from this new investigation in February of 2020, when Florida prosecutors filed a boatload of new charges on Jeremy. 5 counts of falsely impersonating a police officer, 2 counts of unlawful interception of wire or oral communication, and 1 charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, all felonies. A majority of these charges stemmed from offenses in September, October, and November of 2019, as well as 2 charges from 2017 and 18 respectively. He turned himself in on the 26th of that same month. But how strong was the case? Well, the cases for police impersonation seemed to be pretty open and shut. After Jeremy's arrest, the sheriff's office received a warrant to search the Metro State business, including personal computers. While investigating, they found a file titled Jay's Cool Stuff, which contained an extremely incriminating video. The first 20 minutes show a routine funeral escort service from Jeremy's perspective with nothing out of the ordinary. But about 5 minutes after the escort service ends, we see a black Porsche pass by Jeremy and pull in front of him. 'em.
front of him. So Jeremy decides to do this.
So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to do this. So Jeremy decides to
Hi! How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
You must have missed that it's 45 through there, and then you use the turning lane to cut through traffic. Yep. I understand you're in a nice car and everything, but let's be a little more mature the way you drive. Let's drive the right way then.
Are you a cop?
Don't worry about what I am, because I'm a state agent, so what you need to do is make sure you're doing the right thing, fuckboy.
Now, after speeding and weaving between cars, he starts harassing a man for essentially no reason at all. While identifying himself as a state agent, he begins listing traffic violations to the driver and scolding him for his supposed bad driving. Considering that Jeremy is currently riding a police-like motorcycle and is equipped with a police-like uniform and utility belt with police-like equipment, it's hard to imagine he's not attempting to appear as a police officer in this moment. After the driver pulls away, Jeremy begins chasing after him, clearly exceeding the speed limit to continue harassing him.
He's with that bullshit, but he ain't about that life.
Fuckboy?
Yeah.
That's real nice.
Yeah, I know.
Real professional.
The way you almost hit me, fuckboy, is the way it's professional, bitch ass.
You're not a cop.
You want to fight?
Violating the fucking rule too.
How's that?
Don't even act like you're fucking stopping me.
I didn't pull you over. Did I make a traffic stop on you, fuckboy?
Fuck off.
Yeah, you're lucky I don't get out and beat. Come on, let's go, bitch. Get out your fucking car. Let's go.
Jeremy even challenges this dude to a fight, which he accepts, but he refuses to fight him in the middle of the street and asks that Jeremy follow him to a nearby parking lot. Jeremy does not follow him and instead continues driving forward. After discovering this footage, detectives were able to contact the man in the video, who claimed that at first he did believe that Jeremy was a cop, but after he realized that he was a complete fraud, he drove away. However, after the second escalation and Jeremy became more aggressive, he began to fear for his life as he was unsure what weapons Jeremy had on him. Ultimately, the investigators found that this was enough evidence to charge him with false impersonation of a police officer and aggravated assault, the latter likely stemming from Jeremy's belligerent threats and him putting his hands aggressively inside the guy's car. But of course, the investigators found way more incriminating footage than just that. This time, they found a 7-minute video in which Jeremy, referring to himself as Jay, speaks to a woman named Heather on the phone. What's not on camera is what had transpired beforehand. At about 11 a.m. on that day, Heather stopped at a red light, and shortly after heard sirens coming from behind her. That's when a black and white motorcycle entered the intersection with flashing lights. After a few moments, the motorcyclist, who Heather thought was a police officer, began barking orders at her to move her car. She became suspicious of the guy, considering she wasn't aware of any legal department called Metro State, and because the flashing lights on the bike were purple and amber instead of the standard red and blue. Heather ultimately decided to call the police due to this guy's aggressive driving and what she felt to be a suspect presence as law enforcement. Afterwards, it seems that Heather began attempting to contact Metro State and eventually got on a call with Jeremy himself. The contents of the call are not too important, but the nature of the call was, as Jeremy had recorded it without informing Heather that he was doing so.
I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but I mean, you had time to look up our website to find the phone number to call my supervisor and then talk to him on the phone. So I'm assuming you had time to look up what we do. Well, you weren't doing it. Okay, so tell me exactly what happened so I can figure out what's going on.
Based on the evidence provided, Sergeant Keith Vidler felt there was probable cause to charge Jeremy with illegally recording the woman and falsely impersonating a police officer. Another one of the charges stems all the way back to 2018. In this video, we can see Jeremy illegally stopping traffic and pulling cars over. However, one of the vehicles, a silver Nissan truck, was not having it. The driver, named Kevin, immediately began asking Jeremy for his credentials and whether or not he was law enforcement. Of course, Jeremy avoided the question, and Kevin affirmed that if he wasn't law enforcement, he wasn't going to stop for him. He even went as far as to directly request that Jeremy write him a citation. Eventually, Kevin got tired of waiting and pulled off, and Jeremy began verbally lashing out at him in the middle of the funeral procession.
If you're not law enforcement, I'm not stopping for you.
Listen, if you keep going, we'll figure it out real fast.
Let's figure it out real fast.
Florida Statute 316, 1974 says we have the right of way with emergency vehicles. You need to sit tight, sir.
No, I don't.
You need to sit tight.
Answer my question.
I'm videotaping everything right now. I'll get your tag number. If you continue the way you are, we'll have to take care of the situation. I need you to sit tight.
Would you let me speak? If you're law enforcement, identify yourself to me. What agency?
We're with Metro State. We're a state certified agency. You sit right there, please, sir.
Do you have,
Thank you.
Can you write me a citation? Excuse me.
Come on, man. Get out of the fucking way. Sit tight, sir. Please don't continue.
Fuck you.
Hey, fuck boy.
Hey, piece of shit, fuck boy! Motherfuck, fuck boy!
You might have heard Kevin say as he drove away, "Reach for it." The likely reason he said this is because at that moment, Jeremy put his hand on his pepperball pistol. This is what got him his aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charge, with Florida Statute 784-021 stating the charge is an intentional threat with words or actions, the ability to carry out a threat, and an action that creates fear in another person who believes violence is imminent. This wouldn't be the first or the last time Jeremy had done something like this. As mentioned prior, he was nearly arrested on September 16th for threatening an off-duty sheriff's deputy with his wife and children inside the car. These are just 3 of the felony court cases against Jeremy DeWitt, with the others bearing a similar resemblance in both context and consequence. Of course, one unaddressed consequence on top of these legal cases was the public backlash he received from Jeremy's fellow Orange County residents. Tens of thousands of people die every single day, which means that funeral services and funeral escort services will find their way into someone's lives eventually. Unfortunately, Metro State was one of the few funeral escort services in Orange County, leading to a load of unsavory transgressions with both random pedestrians and funeral attendants alike. I encountered your funeral escort services today. Your inept escort waved me through a red light. I was almost hit. Thankfully, I hit and locked my brakes. There was no way for anyone to tell this was a funeral procession. The only sign was a tiny, difficult to discern flag on the first car. Your vehicles look like an emergency vehicle, so folks don't know what to make of them, as your car stopped full lanes of traffic in the middle of intersections. By what authority do you have the right to direct traffic? Your vehicle stopping in the center lane at every intersection, confusing drivers, made the drive from Longwood to Winter Park dangerous. Had it not been for hurricane prep, I would have called 911. Other public reviews for Metro State echo a very similar sentiment. Notably, one anonymous individual representing the company, most likely Jeremy, would often respond with passive-aggressive apologies and shift the blame towards those with unpleasant experiences. We at Metro State truly apologize that you had such an upsetting encounter with one of our escorts. However, the officers, after review of all body cameras and cameras of the vehicles on escort, show all vehicles entering properly on a green light. The statute clearly states that all vehicles are to be yielded to as if fire or ambulance. So I apologize that you were extremely busy with your hurricane preparations, but that may be the reason why you were involved in an upsetting situation, because you are unable to see that the funeral had the right of way. Just because you have a green light does not mean you have the right of way. It seems like negative reviews were beginning to get on Jeremy's nerves, and it's very likely he began uploading fake positive reviews to whatever review site hosted his business. This is quite obvious when you notice that the same messages, word for word, are uploaded by different people within the same time of each other. This isn't a one-time occurrence, by the way, as 2 individuals named Mark and Andra were also posting identical messages not even a full minute apart. It seems like Jeremy was so concerned with losing business that he began planting fake reviews that implied anyone looking for funeral escorts were not able to get them from the local sheriff's office, which is a complete lie. While Jeremy was facing scrutiny in the court system, beginning with his court hearings for his numerous felony cases in March of 2020, he was also facing scrutiny online. The YouTuber Blue Bacon livestreamed himself conducting an interview with someone who claimed to be a Metro State contractor. The interview itself is not too notable. What is interesting is that the Metro State YouTube channel began spamming comments under the video. It would truly be nice that before you post any videos, you confirm that person actually works for us, because you just posted a video of somebody speaking about our company and our boss and never worked for us. But it's about your likes, not the truth, and we understand that. You should call our office and schedule an interview with the owner. We have a very up-to-date call system, and we receive every call and/or respond to every call that comes in. We have never received any call from you or your staff asking for any kind of interview or info about our past contractors. I have been the HR secretary for over 6 years, and I personally handle all calls, and never once have we spoken. But again, it's for your viewers, not the truth. I have a sneaking suspicion that Jeremy might be the one behind these comments, which apparently is a common sentiment. Regardless of who really was behind this diatribe, it goes to show that those involved in Metro State, and of course Jeremy, were well aware of the negative discourse growing online, and they weren't too happy about it.
That's the sound of the police.
Jeremy was scheduled to have his hearing on March 17th, the day after Blue Bacon conducted his interview with the alleged employee. However, on March 13th, the pandemic threw a stick in the spokes, and the hearing had to be rescheduled for April 2nd of 2020, presumably when the quarantine would be over. Of course, in hindsight, we know a series of further delays would happen, and his cases would, for the time, be stuck in limbo. But a global pandemic wasn't going to stop Jeremy and his lackeys from breaking the law. People are still dying, and funerals are still happening, meaning Jeremy would be free to continue LARPing as a police officer until the world went back to normal. Unfortunately, however, he and Jessica had broken up back in November of 2019, and she chose to dissolve two businesses she had filed under her name, Metro State Emergency Services Unit and Metro State Services, leaving Jeremy only with his vehicle protection unit and forced to sell off his ambulances. She claims her reasoning for this was due to deciding not to pursue the business and not authorizing the signature, whatever that means, although it's more likely that she just wasn't interested in helping him anymore. Things only got worse when on April 13th of 2020, he was arrested again for failing to register a vehicle as an offender. At this point, each arrest stopped being an individual point of stress, and it morphed into a consistently growing issue for Jeremy. That's likely why he attempted to get the heat off him after he allegedly sold Metro State Services that same month. This is bizarre, as you'd have to wonder who would want to take on the mantle of the new owner of Metro State, with its legacy forever tarnished and its name still actively involved in multiple felony cases. Not much would transpire for some time that year until September, when Jeremy was set to go to court. According to his ex, Jennifer, Jeremy was offered a total of 18 months in prison and probation for all of his felony charges. If this deal did actually exist, it was likely rejected by Jeremy due to the added stipulation that Metro State be dissolved entirely. Jeremy was content in fighting his battle the hard way, even if it meant finding a method to continue his dreams of police impersonation. But as luck would have it, Jeremy was offered an olive branch, where he would be able to give his side of the story. Whether it be a 200 IQ manipulation tactic or the byproduct of Jeremy's delusions completely taking over, he felt as though it was a good idea to make an appearance on the show Dr. Phil after being contacted by the show's producers.
The Dr. Phil show will show the harassment that we continue to go through. It will also show the uniforms and equipment such as this that we use and are being constantly still harassed to this day, even after multiple situations that have happened over the years.
After the producers did some research, including watching countless videos of Jeremy on the job, they agreed. Now, Dr. Phil, or his team, or whoever, is well known for copyright striking just about any video with even a second of footage from his show, so unfortunately I can't show you the actual episode itself, but I will describe what was discussed and the revelations that came from his appearance on the program. Jeremy spends a lot of time defending Metro State, from their vehicles to their uniforms and their equipment. He tends to obfuscate very obvious attempts at looking like a cop based on technicalities within the law or standard practice in Orlando's local police force. For example, he points out that their neon green high-vis polo shirts are not standard issue for their jurisdiction's law enforcement. This obviously fails to account for other uniforms they wear, like their full black outfits that are nearly identical to that of the Orlando police. On top of that, the average person may not be aware that cops in their area are not issued this type of uniform. Jeremy is technically correct in the eyes of the law, but it's undeniable that the way he presents himself is trying to look like a real cop. Another example is the insignia on the front of their motorcycles, a wheel with two wings on either side and banners on the top and bottom. This is nearly identical to official police motorcycle logos across the country. He claims that Florida doesn't use this logo at all, and says that off the top of his head he knows that only California and Ohio use that logo. Once again, this is a method of getting as close to looking like a cop as possible without technically impersonating them. More so, it's interesting that Jeremy has that fact in his back pocket, as if he had done research into what jurisdictions use what logos to defend himself whenever he's questioned. Jeremy believes that local law enforcement is harassing him due to his past of police impersonation. On the surface, this simply doesn't make any sense, and this claim becomes even more dubious when you consider that the Metro State utility belt is nearly identical to that of a real cop. The belts have flashlights, even though funeral services and processions only take place when the sun is up. Some of the Metro State employees, including Jeremy, carry pepperball guns, which resemble that of a standard issue 9mm pistol. The belt also contained handcuffs, which is a tool that members of the Metro State Escort Service would never legally be able to use. They can't arrest people. Jeremy himself admits that no one on his team has the legal authority to apply handcuffs to anybody, but completely refuses to answer why he carries them. only making the technically true statement that it's not illegal to have them. It's very apparent what's going on here. Jeremy defends the multiple police-like tools and equipment on his belt because technically having a flashlight, handcuffs, and a pepperball gun are not illegal. He never uses these objects during his work, especially the ones that would be illegal to carry without a security license, so he's technically not broken any laws. But why does he carry them? The only real thing they do is trick unsuspecting people into thinking they might be police. Jeremy also gets pressed on a claim he frequently makes whenever he's pressed by those who doubt his authority, claiming that Metro States is a state-approved agency. This claim is also particularly deceptive as it's relatively vague in what it even means. A person might hear this and assume they're agents of the state, implying they do have some kind of authority. There is also no state approval of Metro State, unless of course he means that in the sense that his business pays taxes and legally operates as a business. By that logic, any random store or restaurant would also be a state-approved agency. You heard it here first, guys. The Turkey Tom channel is a state-approved agency. Just kidding. I would never pay taxes. Just kidding. Most notable from his appearance was his willingness to take a lie detector test to prove he was innocent. Jeremy was asked 3 simple questions. Have you ever knowingly misused your funeral escort rights to appear as someone empowered by law enforcement? Have you falsely presented yourself to a citizen as someone empowered by law enforcement? During the course of your duties, have you knowingly used authority exclusively given to law enforcement officers? Jeremy answered no to all 3 of these questions, and his responses were determined to be untruthful. According to the professional who conducted this test, Jeremy essentially broke the scale with how much he was lying. With his methodology, a person would have to score a -3 or less to be considered deceptive. Jeremy scored a -37. But of course, Jeremy claimed that he wasn't lying, and the reason he failed the test was due to nerves. I'm not sure what Jeremy was expecting to get out of this, but he didn't get a whole lot. Not only was Dr. Phil and his viewership thoroughly unconvinced, but his trip to California to film the show likely caused him more problems than it was worth.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Unfortunately for him, his luck would run out rather quickly, as Jeremy would get arrested again. This time, it was because of his appearance on Dr. Phil. Jeremy failed to inform the police of his intentions to fly to California to film the show, subsequently violating his probation. This was a 3rd-degree felony, and Jeremy was facing another 5 years in prison. He was bailed out the following day on $1,500 under the condition that he did not leave the jurisdiction. At this point, his next court hearing was set for April of 2021. Things may seem extremely chaotic at this point, and there's no doubt that they are. Jeremy has alleged that the local sheriff's department is harassing him under the belief that he is being targeted by the aforementioned Keith Vidler. Well, around this time, a series of leaked emails would be published to the Jeremy DeWitt case website. One of the emails comes in December of 2019, in which Sergeant Vidler confirms with his supervisor that, quote, per your order, the Jeremy DeWitt and Metro State investigation has been shut down today, even though the investigation has uncovered more felony crimes. The felony crimes we pulled case numbers for have all been filed with the state's attorney's office. Sergeant Vidler laments that he feels he wasn't given enough time to fully examine and investigate the case, but states he did the best he could with the time afforded. Something I have yet to fully discuss is the Jeremy DeWitt case website, and how it's seemingly been defunct since mid-2021. This website was the primary archive for all things Jeremy DeWitt, including interviews, court documents, important footage, and more. Most of it has been archived. However, there is some information lost to time. In its early stages, the website was hypercritical of Jeremy, but around his December arrest, things began to change. When the website posted the update informing the viewers of his arrest, the anonymous admin included a link to a recently created Teespring web shop which Jeremy had created. Initially, I thought nothing of this, as it seemed to just be documenting the website's creation and nothing more. But as the updates continued to pour in, they would all include Jeremy's Teespring link, accompanied with details regarding pre-orders. This was strange enough. However, the articles it would add would become more and more charitable towards Jeremy and even directly attack fellow critics. In an article titled The Vlogger, the website grills the owner of a YouTube channel called Real World Police, a police body cam footage channel that saw a massive uptick in viewership once they began posting Jeremy DeWitt related footage. The website's admin surprisingly criticizes the owner, Jay Horowitz, saying, despite labeling himself as a journalist, Jay Horowitz didn't appear to be impartial when he openly mocked and defamed Jeremy every every week for nearly a year. This is strange considering the website was seemingly created in the hopes of exposing Jeremy, and nothing about it had indicated to me that it was attempting to give a both sides perspective until this very moment. The website also began trying to posture Jeremy as a victim. In an article titled "The Updates, Part 11, we're informed of a police call Jeremy made to the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. Jeremy claimed to have received an envelope in the mail with a handwritten letter and a mysterious white substance. The letter in question apparently read, "Jeremy DeWitt, how does it feel to be dating a pedophile? Your husband hit my vehicle one day. Now you and him will have to pay. How would you like it if I raped your wife like you raped that child? I got the perfect option. Instead, I don't live too far. How about I just blow up your house when I am sure you and your wife and whoever you live with and you and your company building? You sick monster. Your wife must be retarded. Your day is coming soon. The only way I would not do this is if you get on YouTube and apologize for all your shit." You probably have a dozen questions, and unfortunately, there are no answers. The website uncharacteristically does not do its due diligence to substantiate this claim or this letter. Typically, images of police reports are shown to prove their legitimacy, which are completely absent here. The letter contains a number, uncensored, which the admin made no effort in backtracing like they typically would, and no further context is given in regards to what happened. This entire thing could easily be made up, and the idea that someone would send a letter of this nature through the United States Postal Service and include their own phone number is kind of hard to believe. But the website was doing more than just running defense. They were going as far as deleting previous entries. Take, for example, the photo stream, a 3-part article that suspiciously disappears after some time. The first entry of the photo stream discusses an online account that Jeremy uses on the social media platform Flickr. The account, which represented Metro State, posted photos featuring police-related stuff, such as cruisers, bikes, and police officers themselves. The article points out that the account frequently likes posts from another user named Bull Neck. Bull Neck described himself as a gay man with a partner and specifies his interest in hypermasculinity. The article implies that the owner of the Metro State Flickr account is possibly gay, with him and Bull Neck's shared interest in hypermasculine police officers. At the end of the article, the administrator reveals a subsequent part 2 that will delve deeper into the Metro State Flickr account, but there appears to be no available archives of this second article. This really confused me while doing research, but I chalked it up to a simple accident on behalf of whoever was archiving the articles at the time. Interestingly though, the third entry of the article is still available on the Wayback Machine. This segment also goes on to allege that Jeremy is potentially homosexual, with it claiming that the account's owner appeared to show interest in transsexual and transgender women. The account also showed a clear interest in foreign women, which would line up with Jeremy's particular interest in what he described as exotic babes. Of course, none of these interests are harmful, however, that can't be said for what came next. This account was favoriting photos of young-looking women. The girls were depicted with Hello Kitty shirts, underwear with bows, backpacks, and bikinis with ice cream cones on them. One of the girls had braces, and another was depicted on pink and white bedsheets. Now, it's possible that these girls were of the age of consent, but it obviously doesn't bode well for Jeremy or his image. It's strange that around the time that the account began running defense for Jeremy, it would start deleting these incriminating articles. Then again, it's also strange that the website's admin began trying to discredit Sergeant Keith Vidler and the owner of the Real World Police YouTube channel. So what is going on here? Well, it's honestly hard to say. Some people believe that Jennifer Burton may be behind the entire website. Other observers have noticed that older incriminating articles were removed and newer, more favorable views began plaguing the site. This theory could make sense for a few reasons. The last article posted to the site is titled "The Emails Part 2, which was posted on January 25th of 2021, and the most recent archive that I can find of the website still up is May 10th, 2021. On January 26, 2021, one day after the final article was published, Jeremy DeWitt began uploading to the Metro State YouTube channel again. His first video documents what he alleges to be harassment at the hands of Sergeant Vidler. Aside from some sporadic uploads, a notable upload came on June 21st, 2021, but Jeremy was nowhere to be found. Rather, the creator and uploader of the video was none other than Jennifer Burton.
I was trying to do an introduction video, and I'm gonna put like some little, well, I'm probably gonna let it play in the background while I'm talking, like little clips of me just getting ready for the day and kind of talking about myself and talking about Jeremy and talking about just everything that's kind of happened recently. I do know that Jeremy is supposed to be doing some type of homecoming video, obviously about coming home from jail after being there for a couple of months. So I know that video is more than likely going to be going out on this channel.
All of this is very strange. If you missed that, Jennifer just mentioned that Jeremy had been in jail for the past few months. Jennifer is now back in Jeremy's life and has access to the Metro State YouTube channel. The Jeremy DeWitt website became barren after the Metro State YouTube channel became active, and it failed to report on what seems to be another arrest. Now, the administrator just so happened to have lost interest completely, and the website's domain went up for sale. While there hasn't been any direct confirmation that the creator of this site is Jennifer, many think that she is responsible. But that's just a game theory, who knows? Now, I'd be remiss to not delve into what landed Jeremy in jail again. On March 15th, 2021, Jeremy was charged with domestic violence after throwing a phone at his wife's head. Rania told the police she feared for her life as she was chased outside of her home by a screaming Jeremy. Despite being seen running outside when calling 911, the police arrived to find her inside, lying on the floor, claiming that she fell. It's possible that Rania was trying to cover for Jeremy, and that's why she chose not to press charges. But of course, she couldn't protect him forever. Jeremy was pulled over and arrested on March 23rd, although this would just be a minor speed bump before another massive transgression. That would come on April 7th, after none other than Jennifer Burton called the police on Jeremy for domestic violence.
She's trying to walk away.
Because I heard her on the phone call.
Why are you pursuing her?
I didn't pursue her. I called 911. I was talking.
You didn't call 911.
I did.
You called 911.
What are you talking about? Look at the dispatch logs. I called 911 and told the dispatcher that she's calling and saying that I heard her.
Call and say don't come because
I didn't. Wait a minute. I never said I didn't say. Sir,
get off.
Let me see
the phone.
Supposedly, Jeremy and Jennifer got into a fight, and Jennifer attempted to leave. As she got in her car, Jeremy slammed the door into her left foot. Jennifer never passed on an opportunity to call the police, and she did exactly that. Jeremy was then taken away in handcuffs and charged with dating violence.
What am I being arrested for?
Battery dating violence.
You're not dating.
Jeremy found himself in a courtroom the next day. Despite Jen's wishes to have the charges dropped, they were not, leading Jeremy to be stuck in jail for the time being. It seems that despite their many unsavory interactions and generally volatile history, Jeremy and Jen managed to make amends, and that's likely why she had full possession of his YouTube channel during his time in jail. It also seems like Jennifer became the head of Metro State in his absence. By August, Jeremy posted an update video stating that he was currently out of prison and was in the process of dissolving Metro State. Although his time in the free world wouldn't last for long, as he was eventually sentenced to 18 months in prison. Overall, a pretty light sentence considering the multiple felony cases he was facing. Jeremy was released in August of 2022, but somehow managed to violate his probation in November of that year. He then continued to break the law, becoming well known as a serial fraudster in Central Florida. He was hit with a litany of charges in 2023 and 2024, mostly related to check and insurance fraud. It was clear at that point that Jeremy was incapable of staying out of trouble, and the courts felt the same way. And in November of 2024, Jeremy was sentenced to 7 years in prison for failure to register a new vehicle as a sex offender. On top of that, he was given an extra 41 months in prison after being convicted on charges of filing false tax returns in January of 2025. To this day, Jeremy DeWitt remains in jail. All things considered, with dozens of arrests, encounters with the police, and felony charges, Jeremy DeWitt managed to get a pretty big break. The fact that the prospect of walking as a free man once again is even on the table for him is kind of impressive. Although it's likely that whenever he does get out of prison, he'll make the most of that opportunity in the most Jeremy way. He's lost everything, and he seems destined for a life of nothing but perpetually breaking the law. What started as a young boy's dream of becoming a police officer instead turned into a never-ending spiral of chaos and turmoil. He's currently scheduled for release sometime in the early 2030s. That seems like it. Yeah, that seems about right. I've been Turkey Tom. Thanks for watching, and until next time.
This CEO is facing 40 years in prison after he raised $50 million for his app, which he claimed to be powered by AI. But as it turns out, it might have just been hundreds of people working in call centers in the Philippines instead.
So our technology is basically robotic process automation with a layer of AI on top of it. And what that means is that every time that you ask Nate to buy something for you, Nate is able to go to that website, understand the HTML code, and take actions on your behalf.
Well, that was a lie. I mean, the fact that this man raised $50 million to have people working in call centers in the Philippines, LARPing as AI is flat out outrageous. But meet Albert Sanager, the former CEO of Nate, who has just been charged with fraud by the Department of Justice for what seems to be one of the most evident AI scams we've seen up to date. And definitely, this story isn't just one of those, my app uses some basic automation, but I'm calling it AI. No. Obviously, those are way more common now. But this is one of those, I told my investors my app was powered by revolutionary AI when it was just hundreds of underpaid workers in a call center type of fraud. And it all seemed to be propped up with investor money and feel-good ads like this one selling the concept. I mean, hey, they went all in. While it's an interesting concept, the way Albert went around running this app has him facing 2 20-year prison sentences for the scheme. So Nate is an app that was founded in 2018, and from the beginning, it promised something that could be pretty revolutionary in the retail industry. It claimed to be a universal shopping cart that will let you buy anything from any online store with just one single tap.
Albert, what is Nate doing to offer consumers and retailers an alternative to the big e-commerce platforms, Amazon and Alibaba?
Nate is the first unified shopping experience. So as a consumer, having a Nate account allows you to share and shop your world without compromising your data. You could download the app today, set up your wallet, and use it to save or buy any product from any retailer and share shopping lists with your friends.
So imagine you're scrolling through some random website and you see a pair of shoes you like, or some clothes, hoodie, shirt, pants, or basically anything. Instead of going through the whole checkout process, filling out your shopping information, payment details, and all of that, you just hit the button in the Nate app and that's it. Order completed. The key selling point here that Nate's proprietary AI technology would automatically handle everything. Selecting sizes, entering your payment information, confirming the purchase, literally the whole checkout flow across any e-commerce website. But then on top of that, they also mixed in this social aspect where you could buy a shirt for your friend through Nate. And if they were registered with Nate, they would then automatically get the correct size and it would be sent to their address without you even getting any of that information. Actually, this is a pretty good idea. It's just a shame that it was seemingly ran by an absolute grifter. But obviously, that idea, you're probably thinking that might sound a little bit too complicated to do automatically across thousands of different websites with different layouts and checkout processes back in 2018, especially when we consider where AI technology stood then. And if you thought that, yeah, you would definitely be right, because as it turns out, no magical AI was doing any of this. Because according to the Department of Justice, what was happening behind the scenes was that Sanager, he had hired hundreds of purchasing assistants at a call center in the Philippines who were manually completing all these orders. So every time a user tapped that buy button thinking that some advanced AI would be handling their purchase, in reality, no, not so much. It was just a real human on the other side of the world filing out these forms, and Sanager kept this fact hidden from basically everyone, including most of his employees, claiming that the automation data, that was a trade secret and it couldn't be shared. And if you're wondering what the app's actual automation rate was, well, according to the DOJ investigation, it was nothing more than 0%. I mean, come on, it would be slightly better if they were using people to fill in the gaps on like less common shopping websites or something like that. But for Nate to actually have 0% of transactions automatically done, that's just straight up diabolical. Especially when their CEO is on all these podcasts saying, we're using proprietary AI technology to fulfill all of this stuff. I mean, that is just highway theft to these investors. The audacity of Albert here is just laughably stupid.
I had to build sort of a research lab because we were tackling a problem that had not been solved before. I am technical enough to know who to hire, but that's sort of the extent of it. And so my first hire was not an engineer, it was actually a data scientist who's currently our chief scientist. He's phenomenal and worked with me for a few months. And then we hired our first engineer and then our second, and then we just kept building the team. But it was a lot of sort of trial and error for a long time until we figured out that we were able to crack it.
And by crack it, that's when he realized that they could just pawn all this off to some Filipino call center and call it AI. But this didn't stop him from going on to all these podcasts like he's some genius.
So I founded Nate with a fundamental principle that we would only use machine learning in the execution of tasks and not in the decision making. When you save an item to your Nate app, Nate goes to that website and extracts information such as the picture, the price, the options. When you hit buy, Nate goes to a website and executes the purchase for you.
Right. So that was also a lie, and by it, you mean someone in a call center somewhere. But somehow, obviously, it got worse, because when it was revealed that he raised over $50 million with this lie, I mean, what do you even say to that? Over $50 million was spent on a fancy interface for a call center operation. This isn't Theranos level scale of fraud, but it's definitely up there. We're at about, what, I don't know, like 7% of the full scale of the Theranos fraud, which is still massive, clearly. And these weren't small investments from random people. They were major venture capital firms handing over millions of dollars based on the promises of groundbreaking technology, including Kosher Management and Forerunner Ventures, which both are multi-billion-dollar firms. But Albert occasionally admitted that there were some edge cases where AI might fail, but he insisted that most transactions were fully automated. But in reality, 100% of these transactions were being handled manually. And obviously, there's been suspicions about Nate's actual capabilities for a while now. Back in 2022, The Information published an article suggesting that Nate might have exaggerated tech capabilities for its investors. And this all happened during the pandemic e-commerce boom, when fintech startups were super hot and investors just throwing money at anything that looked promising. However, it's taken until now for the FBI and the Department of Justice to gather enough evidence to bring charges. According to the indictment, Saninger did try to develop AI technology for his app. He acquired some tech from a third party and hired developers to work on it, but they never managed to get it working well enough to handle transactions. I mean, if only he sold this as like a remote shopper assistant app and not AI, he wouldn't be facing these insane charges. But instead of admitting his failure, he just kept the manual operation, claiming it was all AI powered. And this is where I guess the fake it till you make it startup mentality crosses the line into criminal fraud. Because Saninger is now facing one count of securities fraud and another count of wire fraud, both which carry a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Potentially, he'll receive a total of 40 years in prison if he receives consecutive sentences. Acting U.S. Attorney Matthew Podolsky said Albert Saninger misled investors by exploiting the promise to allure an AI technology to build false narrative around innovation that never existed. This type of deception not only victimizes innocent investors, it diverts capital from legitimate startups, makes investors skeptical of real breakthroughs, and ultimately impedes the progress of AI development. And the FBI Assistant Director Christopher G. Raya was equally assertive, saying that Albert Saninger allegedly defrauded investors with fabrications of his company's purported artificial intelligence capabilities while covertly employing personnel to satisfy the illusion of technical automation. Saninger allegedly abused the integrity associated to his former position as the CEO to perpetuate a scheme filled with smoke and mirrors. And this story is particularly interesting right now because we're in the middle of this massive AI hype cycle. Because, you know, every company is slapping AI on everything they can, whether they're actually using any meaningful artificial intelligence or not. But there's a big difference between a company exaggerating what their basic automation tools can do and flat out lying about having AI tech when you're just using human labor in a foreign country on the other side of the world. I mean, even Amazon was caught doing something like this in their just walk out stores, where you essentially, you know, grab your items and walk out without checking out, and your Amazon account gets charged later on. Apparently, they used to at least rely on a lot of people watching the footage manually and charging people accordingly. But this was back in 2021, so I'm unsure if this is still the case. But that's seemingly one of those moments where they're just using people to fill in the gaps while they're training up the AI. Nate's is very different. But there's a whole term for this practice called the Wizard of Oz experiment, where users are made to think they're interacting with an automated system, when in reality, behind the curtains, it's just some dude there. However, most companies do this as a temporary testing method, not a way to fraudulently raise $50 million while claiming they've solved a massive technical challenge. And I feel like an interesting aspect of this case is from the user's perspective, the app probably worked as advertised. You tap a button and your order gets completed without you having to go through this whole checkout process. So in that way, at least it worked. The users weren't necessarily being scammed here, other than, I guess, having their information viewed by another human and not some encrypted secured checkout, as they were likely assuming based on how the CEO was pitching it.
So as a consumer, having a Nate account allows you to share and shop your world without compromising your data.
Psych. I know I used that clip earlier, but it's pretty entertaining. But back to my point, it was the investors who lost big from being deceived on how that convenience was being delivered. A fully automated AI solution would scale into millions of users with way less additional costs compared to a call center with human workers that scales, linearly. More users means more workers, training, and management overhead. So while the product might have worked fine for some users in the short term, the business model seemed unsustainable compared to what was being promised. Also, it just doesn't look good on paper to be investing into some potential online shopping checkout sweatshop. And obviously, we don't know if it was a sweatshop or not yet, but if the users scaled rapidly, and they had to rapidly scale the amount of people that were doing the back-end stuff, that's how you get into sweatshop territory pretty quickly. For one thing, the technical challenge Nate was claiming to have solved sounds like something that was really tough. I mean, building an AI that can navigate any e-commerce site, understand different checkout flows, fill out forms correctly, and then handle all the edge cases, that was a massive challenge back in 2018. Probably still is now. It's the kind of problem that even the biggest tech companies in the world, with thousands of engineers and billions in R&D, hadn't solved by then. I don't know if they've even solved that by now. So the idea that this small startup had cracked this problem completely should have raised some eyebrows. It's not impossible, but you gotta be wary apparently. But the U.S. Securities and Commodities Task Force and the Complex Fraud and Cybercrimes Unit are handling this case. Given the amount of money involved and the deliberate nature of deception, it seems unlikely that he'll just get off with a slap on the wrist. But who knows? Funny things can happen in the world of white-collar crime. But hey, other than that, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. This alpha male influencer just destroyed his life as he's now facing decades in prison, all while being a guru and essentially telling people how to live life.
Guys, I'm 21 years old. I own a hedge fund. I own 3 businesses. I have to manage my 1% chat. I have to manage all this stuff, and I still don't get stressed. You guys have one little bad thing happen, or someone said something on the internet, and you have a bad day. Your problems are not that big of a deal.
Well, his are, as he's now facing 20 years in prison for wire fraud, conspiracy, and stalking. So this is Gavin Mayo, and he's made a fortune off of NFT projects because about in 2021, he launched a bunch of questionable NFT projects that had some pretty fat promises, promising some fat gains. And this attracted some degenerate investors, and here we go. They're left with not too much, and he's worth multiple millions of dollars. Sadly, that's kind of a common theme in that industry. But obviously, this guy must be a solid and credible and honest businessman, right? Well,
2 local men are charged with defrauding investors out of more than $22 million in cryptocurrency. Prosecutors say 23-year-old Gabriel Hay of Beverly Hills and 23-year-old Gavin Mayo of Thousand Oaks engaged in rug pulls. That's when the creator of an NFT or other digital asset solicits people to invest in the project only to abruptly drop the project and keep the money. The defendants also face a stalking charge for allegedly harassing and intimidating a project manager who exposed them.
Apparently there's just a massive disconnect in how he told the world he makes money and how he actually makes his money, which is also extremely common with these guys. But Gavin Mayo rose to fame off of launching a bunch of NFT projects back in 2021, which now the authorities are calling scams. And obviously his success was also short-lived because he was arrested on December 19th for wire fraud, conspiracy, and stalking. But the dude is only 23 years old. So what did he do to gain $22 million? Because no matter how you look at $22 million, that is a metric ton of money. So my question, like everyone else, is who in their right mind is sending this guy their hard-earned cash? Well, apparently he started on TikTok, just like so many other grifters. And he has been found throughout the platform giving advice on crypto and how to live your life as a successful businessman.
Sit like this for 2 minutes. That is actually proven to increase testosterone. If you're smoking a cigar and you feel like a G, like a mafia boss, you got it in your hand like this, there's nothing better than smoking a cigar in a Lambo, let me tell you. When I'm sitting back, smoking in my Lambo, driving, everyone's looking at me, I think, yeah, that increases my testosterone because I feel like a beast.
Hell yeah. This is what I want to invest money with. I mean, the dude is even using the same background music as all these Andrew Tate videos. But before he was an alpha male influencer and alleged scam artist, Gavin Mayo was actually a UNC swimmer, and he was actually set to graduate in 2024. But he dropped out because he had different plans, like making $22 million in JPEGs. Trade offer. Here's this squiggly JPEG, and in return, you give me $22 million. What a fair trade, man. And I get he allegedly rug pulled a lot of these projects, but anyone who bought a JPEG of a squiggle for tens of thousands of dollars, they kind of had it coming. Buys this JPEG squiggle in the middle of the NFT mania. 3 years later, it's worthless. I remember seeing people buy that junk just a few years back, and I concluded that we are officially in the funny money era. Send it all to zero, and it pretty much did get sent to zero because most of these, especially his projects, are worthless. So when that bubble popped, essentially Gavin's empire started to crumble. Prior to his arrest, he was living in Los Angeles with a TikToker that goes by the Stock Bunny and fellow arrested partner Gabriel Hay. So you have the story of a small town swimmer to an alleged LA scammer and a dude who LARPs as an alpha male. So I'm sure he probably has some really good life advice for us.
I only drink fruit juice. I eat cucumber. Let's say I'm thirsty. I go in the fridge, get some watermelon, eat some cucumbers. That's hydration. There's water molecules in those foods. If you're cooking a steak, what comes off of it? Steam. What is that water molecule? So I just eat raw meat. I eat raw chicken, raw tuna, raw steak. That's where I get my hydration from. I get my hydration from those fruits, from fruit juice. Water just dilutes the vitamins in your body. No, you never hear anybody say this, but try just drinking fruit juice and vegetables and fruits for a week and you'll feel like Superman.
We're really telling people to eat raw chicken now. Yep. Okay. Okay, bud. Dude couldn't even leave it at the alleged crypto scamming. He also had to make people sick as well. What a great guy, man. So we know he got his money from NFTs, but where exactly did his money come from? Well, between 2021 and 2024, he launched multiple NFT projects such as Squiggles, Vault of Gems, Faceless, and a few others. In 2021, Gavin fully entered the NFT market conveniently right when everything started blowing up.
You could be homeless, you could be anybody. If you had 10,000 pixels and you launched a project, you made instantly 7 figures.
Bro, I don't think you guys understand how easy it was to make money at the end of 2021. Like, you could have been buying NFTs, flipping them. You could have been selling NFTs. You could have been selling services, marketing, making TikToks. Like, you literally could have been doing anything.
Yeah, man, you could have been doing anything. And he chose to rug pull over and over again, allegedly. And one of the more brazen ones was his project by the name of Vault of Gems, which claimed to be the first NFT project backed by jewelry, even showcasing a marketplace. Apparently, if he'd been telling the truth, these, I guess, tokens would have been backed by real jewelry. So this was promised to be the first NFT project backed by a hard asset, and he raised over $1 million for that and then said deuces. So right after the money landed, he bounced and went onto a podcast and said, yeah, the marketplace never materialized. Right. Okay, what are you gonna do about it, bud?
All of that money, it doesn't just disappear. It goes into the economy, and there's so much money out there, and most of the people that now have that money are rich people that were smart, but everyone was making money. Your mom was making money, the homeless guy down the street was making money, you saw your Uber driver was talking to you about crypto and NFTs, so there was so much money around, and people could afford to get scammed for $500 on some stupid art piece.
And turns out he was also wrong here because the money just did disappear. It was gone. In the projects he was a part of, the money just vanished. Where could the money be? Where is it, Gavin? I don't know. The investors want to know, and apparently so does the government. Because then you have another project of his by the name of Faceless. It raised $420,000, promising movies, comics, and get this, charity donations. None of that came to fruition yet again. Because apparently what Gavin did was hype up a project, promise a amazing roadmap with all of these goodies, and then once the money came in, see ya. And meanwhile, while he's doing all this grifting, he's running around on podcasts claiming that he's a self-made billionaire? Like, how is this a real person? And did he not expect that people would maybe start to question, hey, where is this guy getting all the money he's claiming to have? But things get crazier as, you know, when the targets are starting to get zoomed in on them. Gavin and his business partner, Gabriel, they start pointing the finger at other people for running the projects that they ran. So essentially, they were snitching on other people to avoid charges for themselves. And I mean,
Go ahead. Hello, AR.
Hello, can you hear me?
Doing?
I'm
Yeah, I
doing
can
good.
hear you. I just checked rank and I figured out the elite champion in Unreal is like Admiral, Grand Moff, and Emperor.
How long did it take for you to realize that? Yo, you ready? Oh, how long do you guys got in your game?
What?
How long do you guys?
37 people.
37? Okay, okay. Well, who is this diva? What is this skin?
What?
It's Hush.
The Ataga, whatever the harder to say this is. The skin is pretty thick. I might buy it. Wait, Black Widow was back? What the fuck?
No, that's not. Wait, is that the rare Black Widow?
Yes,
they
it
brought
is.
It back one time on accident. And
They did. They just brought it back.
Healy Adventure Time. It was like the Black Widow.
No, dude, they just brought it back.
I know.
Can I get the saber?
Why did they bring it back?
You can have the. If you get it, you can have the Emperor power.
I might actually get the skin because I like black and red. I might actually get this skin. Holy shit. Wait, I may need to turn off my stream. Actually, wait. Fuck.
What?
Fuck, I don't have enough for this, don't I? How much V-Bucks do I get for this pass? How much V-Bucks? 1, 500, 500, 600, 700, 800,
Oh my gosh,
900,
they were hiding in the bush.
1000, 11,
900?
12, 12. Fuck.
This AR in close range is so good, AR.
What AR?
The Stormtrooper Mythic.
No. I don't have enough to get this.
Decent,
I don't have enough to get
I
this
got hit
skin.
by a car.
Unfortunate.
Dead?
Remy, stop licking her in the mouth. Violet, stop licking her.
Of course they had to get.
They hit me with a car, and then they got out and
I'm
jumped.
gonna mark it because there was a gold heavy assault rifle that you might want. Why is there? Okay, I might even ask questions.
I'm gonna watch you guys.
What? Yeah.
I don't have enough to get the Black Widow skin, unfortunately.
I thought you had like a creator code. I thought you just got like everything for free. You know? Like
Not this
Nick
one.
K30.
Well, not this one.
Are you Nick K30? Is that what you're
I'm Nick A30, but I curse.
And your motto is never back down, always give up.
Yeah, just the anti-Nick 30.
Get the other car.
I got it.
Good.
That is an NPC.
This is the AR.
Violet.
I don't even need a shotgun. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
they're getting the...
Here, all your loot is over here on pink mark.
You guys are doing zero build?
Yeah, because she doesn't know how to build or edit or.
Is it? I could play with you guys. Is it okay that I could like practice though? You know my usual warm-ups.
Yeah.
Okay.
Practice on bots.
Violet, get over here.
When Lily typically dies, she gets ran over by a car.
Wait, is that her name, Lily?
Yeah.
That's my dog's name.
It's crazy. You have a dog in your apartment?
Yes, I love my Lily.
I thought you could have animals in your apartment.
I don't talk about it.
Violet Richardson.
Where's mine? Take that. That's
I
really
don't
good.
even know where she is.
You want to know my dog's full name?
No, not really.
Well, fuck you, Rain.
Bet you it's not Lily and Sandra. Come here.
Okay, yeah, it's not Lily Sandra, but it's Lily Joestar.
Lily what?
It's Lily Joestar.
Gosh.
Is that a real person? That can't be a real person.
Yeah, it was a real person.
These cannot be real people.
I don't know. I don't make the rules.
Bro, he had a light. Bro. No, pick up the lightsaber. Increase your movement so you can rush people. Oh yeah, I am streaming. I am streaming,
Running
by
him
the
over.
way.
Ran him over, hit him for white.
I don't have the special ability, I forgot.
These cannot be blue players.
Oh, let me in your car.
Oh, you want to ride with me?
Yes.
But yes, I am streaming, by the way.
I've never seen a pink Ram 1500.
Well, now you have.
It's actually a cool color.
Violet, honey.
Click space Ross. You know, while I'm watching, guys, I might as well just go on Kovacs for a second.
Yep.
Bring it in.
Where's my chair emote? Hold on.
Oh, my Fortnite's lagging now. What the? Okay.
This is totally safe, guys. Try this at home. Get on top of the
Ow,
mountain. I want to kill
Violet.
those kids.
Hug me, bring it in.
After this game,
Dude,
I'll
you
probably.
cannot drive.
Oh, we're out of gas.
You're not out of gas. You can still drive.
We're low fuel.
Okay, same. Go. Boost. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry, where are they at?
I
Oh,
done
they're
it.
there.
Oh, they're here.
30. Dead?
Hey!
24. Yo, this AR is terrible at long range. It's so good at close range. I hate all the weapons when people are gliding.
Hey, Stinky. Hey, hey, hey.
Alright, just chase them, because these the weapons for people gliding in a very far distance are terrible.
Violet, oh my god.
Yo, AR, did you see that? AR. You disconnect.
Here.
AR, you there?
No, I'm right now practicing laughing.
So, okay, so you didn't see that. I found the kid. He's right here on me.
You can't be getting away with this, bro. If that was me, I would have just dinked you 4 times. Called it a day. How come?
See that? I just
How come you fight against these players, but then whenever I go fight, I fight against like other Peter bots?
Because I don't play, and it's also she's party leader.
Oh, explains. Never mind. I'll stop my code.
I don't play zero ability. My hobbies would be like this too.
I'm gonna go back and practice. I'm gonna stop my coping now.
I wish I learned the force skill for the lightsaber. Because I could double jump and take fall damage.
Like these.
Oh wait, when you pick up a different lightsaber, you don't know the skill?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh. Aren't the lightsabers pretty useless then?
160. Yes. That guy's one shot, man.
Footsteps, somebody's pushing.
That guy's one. Cars also one. I think the lightsabers are useless if you don't know the skill, because you don't even.
Yeah, I was gonna say, doesn't it seem pretty useless to have one then? Because the movement sucks balls on it.
Yeah. I have one for 75.
Stinky.
After this,
Probably
we're
gonna let y'all play.
Yeah. Me and him are gonna play Tilted Zone Wars. That's difficult.
Violet is not having it.
I have a question for you. This is for my girlfriend more. So, do you have any tips for like mothers?
Be quiet. Did you see that?
Is she pregnant?
No. I like how that's the first thing you ask.
No, not really. Just, it'll kind of come to you as you need it.
Okay.
Trust your intuition.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Yo, AR. What is this game?
You're gonna die. You're gonna die. That gun sucks for far range.
I know. What the heck?
Wait. Tell your sister to go up there. Tell your sister to be bait.
No, don't. No. She's gonna die anyways.
I'm already dying.
Well, like, I don't know what to say, you know.
He's literally was just looking at
if he you know, I hope you know if he just shoots that rock and has a brain. If he has a brain and shoots that rock, you're like pretty fucked. I hope you know that.
Hey, Stinky.
Oh my god, he sucks too. He sucks as well, man. What's your luck? What's your luck, bro?
Violet, leave him alone.
What am I supposed to do here? 4 medkits.
Yeah, you grab the medkit. Yeah, I hope you know you just lose.
Drop this. This is terrible.
It is. It would get. By the way, I hope you know your running actually lasts longer than the lightsaber.
Actually?
Yeah, run. I want you to run and notice the difference. Like run the whole thing. Run the whole thing. Don't jump. Just run. You notice. You will immediately notice a difference when you run.
Finally, it's terrible, but something that I can use for long range. It still sucks, but it's better than this for long range. Did you see me shred some people in close range with this weapon?
Yes, I did. I'm gonna put myself in
This is all
kovaaks
it's good
again.
for.
I want to do this one. Yeah. Wait, the stream can't see. The stream can't see that I'm on the app, but like I'm watching you. The stream could only watch you. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's because you don't have the on your OBS. You have to select the scene.
Yeah, no, I have the scene lower, like the bottom, so it doesn't see the
You have
kovaaks.
to do full screen. You have to do full screen.
I am.
Oh. Why not? I don't know.
I'll explain it to you later.
No, I know, but like I know what you're talking about. I just don't know why it's not showing the kovaaks.
But I actually updated. I upgraded my stream, by the way. If you want to check it out.
Okay.
Did you die?
Yeah.
Okay, let me exit
I have
out.
no cover, bro.
Oh yeah, but I actually updated my live stream.
Okay.
If you want to check it out, check it out and see. I'm not gonna say it.
I don't really want to.
Well,
It's probably your crosshairs, some like anime playing.
no.
Okay, bye. Y'all have fun.
Alright, bye.
YouTube.
Alright, what do you want to play?
You already know the classic warm-up map we do.
Alright. Oh yeah, by the way.
Yeah.
So, when I played one ranked match, it finally updated. But like, I got the win with like 20 kills. And it said I went down.
After we do tilted, we're gonna do duos ranked.
Bro, you gotta play ranked reloads. Stop like stalling. You have to go on your...
Yeah, but I want to get Emperor rank.
Yo.
I just...
Rank Emperor! That would be so funny to say.
I'm the Emperor rank! And like, you say it like with glasses. Guys, you have to be the Emperor. I'm the Emperor.
You should totally, like, when you hit that in your video, you should down like a voice changer and change it to Emperor Palpatine.
You know, that'd actually be a good idea.
Like the...
Oh my god, wait, I need to change the sense. Holy shit. Do not start the game, do not start the game.
Oh.
Did you start the game? I swear to god.
No, it's not.
Okay, good. Let's go. Yippee.
Is there not anybody on that you want to practice with?
I mean, nobody cool or important to me.
Thanks, I guess.
You're
Is that a
welcome.
compliment?
That was a compliment, you just didn't recognize that.
No, I just wasn't paying attention. You're welcome.
It's okay, Pookie.
One of my friends will do.
You know, I asked the same thing.
Oi, bruv.
Oi, bruv, you Canadian? Even though I'm speaking in the British accent. Oh, you're just looking at me, you know you don't want to look anymore? You asshole.
No, I don't like you.
Well, I'm fucked. And now you're gonna look at me. Yep! You asshole.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said I'm fucked, and now you look at me.
Get a hunting rifle. I just found. I'm not gonna talk about that. Put the mammoth down.
I wish, you know what? I need a mammoth. Remember that whole time when I had mammoth? I just hit every single shot.
Yeah, that's when the meme was first created.
Put the mammoth.
I love the OG revolver.
Oh, now you're shooting up. You can't hit me with the rollover. Oh, you thought I was gonna shoot it down? I played your games before.
Played these games before. Screw you, bro. How many shockwaves do you have? Oh my. Yo, stop.
I love the dual miniguns. I love the dualies. They do me so good.
I mean, take that hard, but if you can't get it, that's a plus. What the?
I was looking at you, bro.
I didn't expect that.
Oh, I'm dead. I fell. Don't watch the stream. Do not watch the stream. Do not watch the stream.
I'm gonna clip that.
Do not watch it.
It's not about the damage you dealt, because you like hit me for like 15 more damage. Oh, the skill, you know? 'Cause I'm better.
You're just so much better. Your aura just shook me to my core. You know?
So right.
Oh, how conveniently placed you are.
No! Why do you have to have high ground?
I don't know.
Wait,
The
this
game
is a secret
decided.
Code area.
What do you mean secret code area?
Nothing. Okay, that's good.
Now, not wait, but like now I'm intrigued what you could mean by that. You know what? I'm gonna clip you now.
You're gonna clip me? You're gonna box me up?
Where did you jump? My game just didn't register where you were.
Silver Anakin. I have the high ground. Oh crap, never mind. No, you made me throw a splash to the ground.
Nope.
Shockwaves. How do you have a code for like that many shockwaves or something?
No. Why would I have a code for that? The codes are not even active.
Really?
Yeah. You didn't realize it?
I know, but like you're cheating. No. You're so weird, bro. Why do you have to get
I have so much. I have a little bit too much for my own good.
I was gonna die the storm anyway.
Bro, if you only saw this stream, how much I had in my hands.
I had more. Wait, never mind. I thought I was looking at me. I was gonna say, do I have more damage than you? But I don't.
I feel like I always have more damage no matter what lobby I'm in. You know what I mean?
Did you watch the Peterbot versus Bolts?
Yes. I mean, Peterbot's washed now, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
Peterbot still thinks he hasn't been primed,
Bro. I'm his his number one rival, and I still think he's washed.
Crazy.
Like
He
he's
thinks
not.
He thinks he hasn't been primed yet, you know?
Hi. Hi.
Bro, what the heck?
Where did you glitch to? Your body just like deformed in front of my face.
Wait, actually.
Oh wait, oh no. Oh no.
I can play fire with fire.
Hey bro, hey bro. Hey bro, no. I have something worse.
You have an MK. What the heck? What is that? I see that.
This is gonna be a clip, by the way. This is gonna be a clip.
No, it's not.
You can hit me all you want. I have heals too. You know what's playing right now? You know what's playing right now?
Probably some
Doomslayer.
Whoa, that's not good. What the? What do you have?
You're gonna get fucked, by the way.
I know. Get faked. You know how bad your aim is?
Bro.
You're so bad, bro.
Wait, you're right here. Anyways, Scullywug. Wait, that actually helps me more than you think.
Wait, give us
wait, no, I had to damage. I got fall damage. I had 2 charged SMGs. I had 2.
Wait, what do you have?
2 charged SMGs.
Oh, what the heck?
So if you were just brave enough to peek for milliseconds, I would have just got you.
I love how bad that weapon is. I love how like good you make all the terrible weapons look.
It's because they all require heavily amounts of aim. Like my favorite gun is the Primal SMG because of how bad it is. And the gun is only good because like I can just hit most of my shots.
Oh wow, I'm so happy now. No, I'm not happy, I'm not happy. I was just fine, huh? Where are you going?
I have a loadout right now that I'm really happy about.
Of course you get the Primal.
Not just one.
And you have the void mask.
Yep. W plays. So I could be as close as far as I want to
You know what
now.
W plays? Really?
I could be as close as far as I want now.
Are you know what W plays? Because that's what you just said. Huh?
I said W plays.
Same thing. Just know what W plays, real aim action. Or do you not know that?
I don't know that.
Are you not the Sigma Alpha? I don't know.
Where are you? You're right there.
Nuh-uh. You thought. Wait, wait, the void mask got through that?
Yeah.
I didn't see
I predicted that. Come on, bro. I'm not that dumb.
Yes, you are. I knew that was gonna. Because you didn't do it the first time, so why would you not do it the second time? You know?
No, I could have mantled. Hey, that's fair play, fair plays. I had 2 Primal SMGs. I was trying to kill you with the worst gun. Just make sure. Crazy.
You know what I have to do since I play on a controller, like not like every 20 minutes,
What?
every hour. I have to like reset my controller because this thing's like prehistoric. This is my sister's old controller, and she got it as soon as the PlayStation 4 came out. Do you like the PlayStation 4 controller?
Yes. It's my
I think it's the
favorite.
best controller.
I think it is too. PlayStation 5 just fucked it over.
Yeah. I don't really like that Xbox feel.
No.
Dude. Ah, you missed.
Bam.
My bad, bro.
No, I get high ground.
No.
No.
I wasn't paying attention. Oh, he's so weird.
Just free damage. Always free damage for me. No.
Why do you have a drum gun?
Did I hit you there? I didn't even register that I hit you. I guess I...
How do you not register something when you have like a 500 hertz monitor?
I don't know.
Is your brain 500?
My brain doesn't register that. I'm dead here.
Thanks for healing me.
You're welcome. I'm out. I'm dead here. I'm dead here though. Wait, you didn't kill me? You idiot!
No, I'm waiting.
What are you waiting for? Nope. Miss. I'm dead here.
I did not. I was gonna say I didn't miss that much. I missed like maybe one shot, and that was because of stress. I had my crosshair on you the whole time.
You did. I hate how you just don't let me get away with that. You just know too well. You know so much.
Yeah.
Now, what you said?
You had to play you had to change your playstyle to kill me that one time.
Yeah, I might have to change it again. Actually, hold up.
Oh, did you get that one weapon?
Actually, give me a second. Let me just get something from here, and then get this. Hold up.
Correct. There's an MK7, what's it called?
And then if I go right here. Did go right here. You know what's funny too? You know what I just got? I didn't think you have enough time, but I have a chug jug now, so I can just stay in here. All I want now. I had a shotgun too.
I didn't know that. Bro, there's nobody online that you can torment.
Well, you're killing me. You're killing me a lot. What do you mean? You're having fun.
Sending an invite to this guy named Gucci. Like, you know.
Why can't it just be me and you?
Cause this is not fun.
How's this not fun?
Do I have to explain myself?
Yes, you can explain yourself again.
No, I don't.
Yes, you can. Explain yourself. Do it.
I have the glitch where I cannot change item slots.
Yeah, I get that glitch too. It's okay.
No, it's not.
Why is it not
If
okay?
you get it, then it's not okay. I don't want to be stinky. This is your job. Your job is bullying kids. I hate you. I'm so paranoid.
I just love building up in there paranoia for you. At any time, you know I will teleport to that shit.
I hate you.
Hi. You missed.
What? I couldn't see 'cause of the void. I couldn't see.
You can't teleport there.
It won't let me grapple. I didn't die to fall.
I know you didn't die to fall. I headshotted you.
Bro. You're using invite someone else.
You invite somebody else. Bro, you died so fucking fast. Falcon, you died so fast.
I don't know. Wait, unless this guy changed his name, I have no clue who this guy is. Yo, Quezzy.
Yo.
Oh wait, you're the Peterbot kid.
Oh yeah, well he is the Peterbot kid. I'm really bad, by the way. I'm really bad.
No, you're a liar. I remember you said that last time.
No, I never did.
You lost your voice.
No, I never did.
Yeah, you said that last time.
Air's not a liar.
I would never lie to a children. To a children.
To a children. W grammar.
W words.
W speech.
W grammar
have a
words.
dream.
I have a dream. Or I am Steve.
I am Steve.
I have a shotgun.
Oh, a good shotgun at that.
Wait, what?
You couldn't mantle because I placed the wall.
Fair enough. I had the gatekeeper, bro. I would have won that too. I'm carrying now. Since I realize you're rushing me now, I'm just carrying a shotgun for you.
Yo, Peter, can you join?
Yeah, can you join, please?
No, because I'm gonna get
AR is
cheated.
really bad.
Yeah, I'm really bad.
He hasn't AR hasn't played in 3 months.
I haven't played in 3 years.
No,
3 months.
I would never lie.
Yeah, but he hasn't played in 3 months. He took like a really big vacation that he took.
Yeah, I went to the Bahamas.
He went to Nassau recently.
Yeah, I did. You know, I was just, you know, I felt like it was a really good day to just go to NASA.
Nassau. Not Nassau.
Did you just do that yourself?
No,
You did not do that yourself.
I did not.
I'm blind. It's okay.
See how washed he is? He's blind.
Yeah, you see? I'm just like, I'm unk status, unk looking.
Yeah, you're unstatus now. Oh my god.
Hey, you wanna come to me?
Not really. No,
I'll let you grab it. I know what you're grabbing too. I'll let you grab it. I'll be nice.
Wait, what am I grabbing?
You're grabbing heels. You're grabbing the splashes.
Dang right. I needed them. I have balloons. Do you wanna do the eagle strat?
No. What's with that side for? Why are you so sad? Nope. I'm probably dead here. No, I'm not.
Bro, what the Not fair. Why do you have so much movement? Hit fire.
Why does hipfire doesn't work?
That's what I'm saying. That's what happened to me. 0. Oh my god. Peter?
Connection.
12.
Oh, you didn't ego that? Fuck you.
Bro, you won me this dude.
No. Yo, are you gonna join, please?
Yo, how?
What?
Are you gonna join?
Yeah,
It doesn't
please,
let me.
are you gonna-
Oh yeah, we have to go back
Go
to the
lobby,
lobby.
go back to the
Yeah.
lobby. AR's terrible.
Yeah, I am.
'Cause I just won like 3 times in a row.
I'm so bad.
You really are.
You gotta trust that I'm really bad, okay, bro? Okay, please.
By the way, Peter, you signed the contract, right?
And you also added me, right? I need more victims.
Did you add him?
Ready up.
Wait, why isn't it public?
It's not a public.
On my screen it is.
It is.
For me it is.
Oh my god, you guys
Bro, why is it on public now?
Stop changing it, bro.
No, it's on private now.
Ready up.
Ready up. Thank you.
Good boys.
Why is this lobby icon a pitbull? You see that?
I want to put a different song on.
Oh, I know why you have the back bling. Because it's like, kind of like tracking you.
What are you talking about?
You know? Like the back bling, like the backpack that you have, like a floating orb.
Oh no, that's because I used to play Destiny 2 and Destiny 1.
Oh.
Bro, what are you trying? What type of lore are you adding?
No, but like the Japanese means tracking.
Yes.
Like, and like the backpack is like tracking you, like it's following you.
No, it's my ghost.
Why would you start?
I mean, it's okay. We all loaded in, so.
What do you mean? We're all in.
Yeah, we're all in. Yeah, why are you trying to get on him about that, bro? Asshole.
I don't know. I just enjoy starting beef.
Yeah, asshole. You like doing things.
I did that on purpose. Whoa. What do we have here?
I'm just saying this.
5002. 5002 is that code. Am I not muted?
Well.
Don't try that out, Yark. I totally will be your new favorite code. Just don't try it out.
What is it? What's the code?
Something that starts with MK.
What is the code?
Is it an Xbox code?
No. I get the code in here. It's 5002, I believe.
5002?
No, there's a code that's 5000 and it gives you a mythic habit.
That's pretty cool.
Sucks.
Oh, and there's also one that gives you a mythic scar.
Can I shoot you guys now?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you could fight. I don't know why you're gonna just pass it.
Okay. SEAL Team 6 incoming.
It's not fair. I'm getting double teamed.
You're not getting double teamed. You're not getting double teamed.
No, that was just the U.S. military. Blame them.
Yes.
Don't nominate me for the ice bucket challenge.
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Come on. Come on. You wanted to do so bad. Do it again. I missed. I missed my first shot. That's crazy.
Wait, what do you have? What do you have?
I had a sentinel.
Oh. Okay, try out the code. Can I think 5002? If not, it's 5004.
5002. Okay. If it's the
No,
MK,
it's not gonna work
if
yet.
it's
You need to
if
win another
I know,
round.
I know. If it's the MK7, you guys are all fucked. By the way.
It says MK, so I don't know.
I just hope it's
If I
MK7.
spawn there again, I'll shoot. Is the MK7 in here, or is that just the MK Alpha?
I don't want an MK Alpha. I want the MK7.
The Alpha's good because it has a.
The Alpha because it has less recoil, but I want
yeah.
I want everything on it. I want everything.
Hello, Kites.
Hello, Katsa. How do you? Oh, I'm not going there. Yep, I'd rather be on this angle.
How are you shooting that?
Oh wait, thank you. Actually, he's a nice guy.
Stop shooting!
Keep shooting! Keep shooting! Keep shooting! Keep shooting!
I'm out of rockets.
Leave me alone. He just hit me for like all my HP. I have like no heals now. So stop.
He's slow. He's one tap.
I'm dead as Storm. It was worth
Sorry, I
a
was
shot.
reading the codes. I was reading codes back here.
It was
I was
worth a
reading.
shot.
I was reading codes back here.
That's
Actually.
not the codes I saw, I don't think. No, those aren't the codes. Those are not the codes
Okay.
at all.
Okay. Are you sure you want to do this engagement? Are you sure you want to do this engagement,
You
Quasi?
got the Mythic Combat AR code. Oh, he has a stinger SMGs. GG's. Bro, you have the best short range AR loadout. Like close range AR loadout.
You're full rage hacking.
I'm not full rage hacking. Why do you think I'm rage hacking?
No, he's rage baiting. That's literally what he's doing, bro. He's just making you rage.
Come on, be a good boy.
No.
I can't.
Come on.
Come on, be a good boy. Come on, Rufus, you got this. Oh.
No, he got me. GG there.
Bro just hit a clip and then failed to do a double up. Bro, I just got targeted. You were shooting me?
You spawned next to me. You spawned next to me, bro. You spawned next. That was on you.
I thought it wasn't my fault.
That was on you.
I don't pick my spot. Alright, now we can
Okay. So it was 5002. You said?
Yeah, that should be it. If not, then it's 5004. You're welcome.
It's the MK7. Where's my nearest victim? Oh, it's Queasy.
Sorry, Queasy. Sorry for your loss. Bro, I keep getting shot with so long. Like, what did I do? How are you enjoying?
I don't care. I gave a good trade off to Queasy. I love this gun so much.
Enjoying your new kit?
It's so good. Who's shooting at me? Oh, is it Queasy who's shooting?
That's him. Shots. It's all him.
Bro!
Close to AR, I automatically win. Oh, I forgot he had that.
Bro, this gun is so good. I love this gun so much.
Bro, any first person weapon's just so good.
I love this gun so much.
Bro, it doesn't even matter.
I don't even care about my health. I don't even care about my health. I just want to shoot you.
Hunting rifle, Jules grappler, Midas drum gun, Jules drum gun, Kid's shotgun launcher. Okay, good to know. Oh, I wasn't even peeking.
Yes, you were. I don't care. Okay, now I kind of do care.
So glad I found this. I actually have a decent chance.
Oh.
Let's go. I'm better.
Bro, now that's my new weapon.
How did you die?
I died too. I died because he did hit and I didn't have any white heals. Oh, he left. What? Wait.
He got off. He don't.
Bro.
Did he actually go off?
Yeah, you did.
That's crazy.
Bro, it's because I had the MK7?
Technically, I made him rage quit.
Bro, I can't wait to get that gun again.
Battle Royale ranked duo.
I can't wait to do that again, bro. That made my day.
You're welcome. No, I just dropped the sniper.
Well, thank you.
Over and then I see you with the duel.
Thank you for telling me that.
Just kidding. I still have them. You saw it. Oh, put the mammoth down.
Put the mammoth down.
This is for my safety. Put the mammoth
Wait a minute. I just got something devious.
No.
You can't hear me.
Put the mammoth down.
Well, you're a bitch. You know that? You're just an asshole.
I didn't have this, by the way. I just found it. Wait, why'd you not use the MK7 code? Or you're baiting?
I don't have the MK7 code. It doesn't work when it only works every 3 rounds. Nope.
Oh, what?
Nope.
Bro, you shut the wall. Wait, I dropped my AR for the sniper. Now I only have a shotgun and a sniper. This is actually pretty easy. I'm stuck here.
I missed.
Because I was doing spinnies.
No, it wasn't because of that. It was because I suck right now.
Bro, I hit you on my screen. But guess what? It's nothing. On your screen, I didn't hit you apparently.
Yes. In fact, he did it.
Bro, bad long-range hit-fire weapon, especially when I'm jumping. Cut off. We're gonna talk about how you actually 30! 30! Hey, I hit you for 30 body.
Thank you.
36 to be precise.
Can you turn off the game, please?
With a mythic sentinel.
This will be the last round.
26,
Oh.
18.
I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die here.
62.
No! Okay. I'm gonna head out. Be right
You're
back.
actually getting off? Why?
My girlfriend needs me.